There we go. This might be a bit of a slower stream than usual. They feel a little more chill. Because I feel like, even when I've done other lore readings in the past, it was like characters and stuff, so I feel like artifacts might be a bit more chill. I'm probably also going to miss a lot more details, because it's probably going to be a bit more complex. But that is honestly pretty usual for me anyway, so probably not that big of an issue. I hope at least. I hope I don't miss too many details. I probably will, because that is what I do, but we shall see. The main things will be, obviously the 4 artifact sets, from 6.3 and 6.6. As for other things, I mean, we'll see how long those 4 sets take. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. I might read the last 2 Vera's Melancholy volumes, and maybe the tutorial materials. We'll see how I feel after the artifacts. Hey brother, how you going? So, I feel like I might as well just get straight into it. I feel like Mondstadt's a pretty good spot to start. Just have the chill music in the background. Not that it's probably going to be that loud, to be fair. But yeah. Starting with the Mondstadt, or the Hexer I said, I guess. I still don't have these. I still do not have these sets in my archive. After all this time. I think I'm going to keep it that way, to be honest. I might just keep these out of my archive the entire time. I don't know why I don't have them. Here we go. Oh, actually, I thought this one was listed first, but starting with this one. Because I feel like this one might be... Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the 4 of them. I feel like this one's probably the least important. I mean, just off the names. It may not be the case, but I feel like it might be. And it's also Mondstadt, so it's more... Well, assumingly Mondstadt, so probably more likely to miss more details. I would think, compared to other sets, but we shall see. Windborn Flowers... something. I don't think I even want to try and pronounce that. That is a word. that is a word. An azure crystal bloom that never withers, said to have once belonged in ages past to a wandering girl who invoked the 1,000 winds and countless flowers. Interesting. Well, 1,000 winds, that immediately Venti Esteroth. Countless flowers, I don't know if that's what it's meant to be, but they really remind me of the Dandelion Sea. That was the first thing I thought of, but it may be something else. Yeah. I really don't, I kind of, yeah, I wish I knew what that word meant. That might help. Probably not, actually. In the name of Gunhilda's clan head, I hereby pledge allegiance to the newborn god. How long ago is this? How long ago is this exactly? Jesus, okay. Newborn god? We once wandered through knife-like north winds, enduring grievances as cold as burial shrouds. Knife-like north... I mean, when you think north, you think it's Snezhnaya, but there's also just the north wind. So it could just be that. It's cold as burial shrouds. Our homeland has long been buried in a dead silver silence, and our old customs has faded into desolate ruins. Huh. Our homeland has long been buried in a dead silver silence. This is what I was thinking was happening. I'm already getting confused. I knew this would happen. I'm fucking 2 lines in. Oh, God. Silver silence feels specific. But like flowers forged by fierce winds, our spines shall never bend. Well, that doesn't... Yeah, I don't know if that's a very good thing, to be honest. We shall never betray friendship in days of bitter darkness, and we shall never forget the oath written in blood. Yeah, I'm already confused. So, I mean, the only thing which is making sense to me is Gunhilda. Like, newborn god, like, are we talking, like, way back Archon War time? I don't know, I can't remember how far back Mondstadt's history goes when it comes to the clans. I'm not sure. Flowers forged by fierce winds. I guess that's probably what the countless flowers in this description is referring to. Okay. In the name of Gunhilda's clan head, I hereby pledge allegiance to the newborn god. Again. Okay, it starts the exact same way. We shall not, like the Gotini clan, proffer songbirds wrought from pure gold. Okay, now, I already have a massive question. Have we heard of these clans before? Because, like, Mondstadt stuff is so old, I don't remember. Gotini clan? I don't, like, the only ones I remember, like, you know, the Lawrence clan, Gunhilda, and Ragvindir, because, like, they're the three main obvious ones. I don't remember any other ones. Maybe they've been mentioned a long time ago, but I'm not sure. I'm going to write them down just in case. But, I mean, chances are they probably have been mentioned before. But yeah. So, proffer songbirds wrought from pure gold. I mean, whenever they say gold, I'm always thinking Rhine-Dot. I don't think that has anything to do with this clan, I assume, but it always makes you think of Rhine-Dot, man. Nor shall we, like the how high? I don't know which letter's silent, the H or the L. I assume one of them's silent. Hayringy, Lyringy is, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just Hlyringy. I don't know, or Hlayringy. It feels odd to say. None of what I just said sounds right. But I guess I'll write that down as well. Shall pledge glorious deeds of war to the wind. Unlike the Bro, how many are there? But I feel like at least one, I mean, again, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like if these clans were mentioned before, at least one of them would ring a bell. But they don't. Unlike the Brocteri who raise sacred halls, or the Citones who present exquisite verses. Okay. So, Hlyringy is just fighting, I guess. They're like more war-based. Citones, I guess, more kind of bard verses. Brocteri who raise sacred halls. What, similar to the church, I guess? Maybe? And proffer songbirds wrought from pure gold. So, I mean, pure gold, I guess more money-based. That's probably the most bare bones deciphering, if it's even correct. But that's what it feels like to me, at least. Money war. Yeah, maybe like something to do with the church. I'm not sure. And then something. But I mean, I guess it makes sense. You know, the church. If this is to do with the church, it's to do with, you know, the bards. It does make sense for Mondstadt. We lay before the wind nothing but blossoms, ardent hearts, and a sincerity that shall never fade. In the name of Gunhilda's clan head, I hereby pledge allegiance to the newborn god yet again. We have stood against fierce gales and fought shoulder to shoulder with divinity atop the tower. Every time I think I'm caught up with lore, shit like this pulls. Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't think I was caught up because I knew I had this stuff to read. But yeah, there's always pretty much always more to read. Let's be real, because like even furnishing has descriptions and stuff, so there's always something to read. Yeah, shoulder to shoulder with divinity atop the tower. This makes me think. I guess it's back to like Arkham War time. Was Decorabian Arkham War time? It would have been, right? It makes you think Decorabian. I think. We have seen the tender breeze as well. After the gloom, we are reborn beneath the spring sun. Should the winds one day rage anew, and a tyrant seek to torment mortals again? Okay, so I think this is referring to Decorabian then. Well, like I'm like 90% sure. And a tyrant seek to torment mortals again, we shall not hesitate to stain the bright blossoms with blood, even if it means turning our backs on the divine throne once more. That's a really cool quote. If the winds remain ever gentle, and the heavens look kindly upon our realm, we shall guard the song of Mondstadt without faltering, as the new winds once bestowed upon us their sheltering grace. What would be the song of Mondstadt? Because, like, even in a game sense, like, isn't Mondstadt the one region which doesn't actually have, like, an OST, like, called Mondstadt? Like, there's Liyue, there's Inazuma, there's Sumeru, there's, like, I'm pretty sure, isn't Mondstadt the only region which doesn't actually have one? That's more of, like, an out-of-game reason, but, like, what would be the song of Mondstadt? Because, like, the whole, like, not the whole thing with Mondstadt, but a large thing with Mondstadt is bards and stuff. It's all about songs. So, like, what would be the song? I guess it kind of goes back to the Windbloom Festival, like, with the Wind Bloom. How the flower just essentially changes each time it comes around. What would be the song of Mondstadt? I'm kind of curious. I don't think it's ever, like... I don't think it's ever come up as there being the song. But maybe I'm wrong. Sounds like they're pledging themselves to Venti probably when he first became Archon. Huh, yeah, that's probably more of a realistic interpretation. Yeah, that makes more sense, actually. That's a good point. Yeah. Oh, whoops. As the new winds once bestowed upon us their sheltering. Yeah, okay, I can see that. I'll put it in brackets. There we go. Okay. In the name of Great Arcadia's descendants. Great Arcadia? Why does that ring a bell? Or am I thinking of Star Rail? I'm probably thinking of Star Rail because Plain Arcadia. Great Arcadia's descendants. Thus do we crown the newborn god with 1,000 winds. In the name of Great Arcadia's descendants. Huh. I'm just thinking back, like, does... Mondstadt doesn't really have, like, a ancient kind of kingdom, does it? Like with Liyue, that's like the chasm and all that. Inazuma has Enka. Sumeru has Khaenri'ah. Fontaine has Remuria. Natlan has Natlantia. I guess Nod-Krai Snezhnaya has Hyperborea. Would Arcadia essentially be that? Like an ancient civilization, I guess. Just it's in Mondstadt's one of like the unified civilization. That's the vibe I get, at least. Something Dagny? Oh, right, yeah, good point. Good point. Oh, God, I kind of forgot. About that. Oh, Jesus. I don't know how I forgot about it, because, like, we've had, like, Nicole's teaser mentioned Solving Dagny, so, like, it should be on my mind, it's recent. This is the thing. I said it right at the start. I feel like I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes today. May your words be as those of our former lady, until the faith of all beings become one with poetry. May your deeds be as those of our former lady, until our former lady acts as you do. Former lady. Hold on. In the name of Great Arcadia's descendants, thus to be crowned the newborn god with 1,000 winds. May your words be as those of our former... So, like, what? I'm probably going to sound like a dumbass, but Istaroth? It's a newborn god of 1,000 winds. So a former lady, in regards to the 1,000 winds, I just feel like there has to be Istaroth, right? Unless these lines aren't... No, sure they're meant to be they're meant to be paired together. May your words be as those of our former lady until the faith of all beings becomes one with poetry. May your deeds be as those of our former lady until our former lady acts as you do. I think Arcadia used to worship Istaroth. That'd be kind of... Huh. What... I mean, I like the thought. What if, like, in, like... I feel like... I don't know if Arcadia's been mentioned before. But, like, if Arcadia... Like, if it's a new thing and it's, like, something we could get as a playable area... What if that's what it... Like, instead of, like, getting a temple of whatever for each shade... What if Arcadia would be, like, the temple of time one? Because, like... it's like if they do worship Istaroth, which it feels like it could make sense. Oh, word cell. Yeah, there's been a lot of words today. The ruins of Arcadia... they were the one Rugas went low, and if I recall... Also, the Thousand Wind Temple. That's a small area. Because when you say Great Arcadia, I don't think of an area as small as a Thousand Wind Temple. I feel like, you know, like a Chasm Civilization, Hyperborea, kind of Natlantia, Enkanemia type area. But unless there's a different name for it, it would make sense. If the Thousand Winds in the former lady is talking about Istaroth, then we know that the Thousand Winds Temple is to do with Istaroth and Venti, so it would make sense. Just a Great Arcadia, just kind of... Because, yeah, like, the Thousand Wind Temple, it ain't a big area. It's pretty small. Okay. Interesting first piece. That might just be one of the temples? Yeah, maybe. The thing is, where would the rest of it be then? I mean, is it just, like, underground, like every other seemingly ancient civilization? Because, like, that's a small area. It's a very small area. But if, like, there's, like, a massive area under here. I don't think that'd be the case, but that'd be kind of cool. I probably shouldn't have closed that, because it can take forever to pull this up, isn't it? Oh, it didn't take as long to load. Sometimes it takes forever to load the archive. Okay. Very interesting first piece. Plume now. Dawn's Brilliant Oath. A feather accessory of azure, clear as the dawn, said to have once belonged to a guard who cast aside his name in ages past. Maybe we'll get as an area at some point, because Selva and Dugno I think are separate from Mondstadt since they come into the book either. Well, so when it comes to Dragonspine, the reason why the compass doesn't work there is because the ley lines are messed up. Though I wouldn't mind, I mean, I would not complain about an area. Because, like, I mean, I feel like, where does Mondstadt go from this point? It's kind of the same with Inazuma, actually, because, like, if you go through the regions, like, Mondstadt, now that we have Dormant Port, the only possible thing for a new area, unless we're including a potential Arcadia, would be maybe the Dandelion Sea. That's the only thing we have kind of by name, if it even exists. Like, and then you have, like, Liyue has, like, the Blackcliff Forge. Inazuma has nothing as well. So, like, I feel like, I kind of forgot where I was going with that, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't mind it, but I don't know, because I feel like why am I going to the next one? I feel like, yeah, the Dandelion Sea is the only other thing by name. So I'm not sure if we will get more Mondstadt updates. Then again, to be fair, we got Dormant Port, but most of the exploration was up in the sky, so they could do anything like that. So you never really know, to be fair. What if Arcadia is just up in the sky above the Thousand Wind Temple? What if it's just that? Like, they could do something like that easily, because it's a whole new, like, kind of domain area. Dawn's Brilliant Oath. That was a barren age of all old. Time when the pale dawn had yet to pierce the cold night. The pale dawn. What's the artifact set again? The physical set? Pale... What is it called again? I know it's not like it's like Fatui stuff. What's it called again? Pale Flame, that's what it was. A time when the pale dawn had yet to pierce the cold night. The warrior clad in iron had never beheld the open sky. Okay, so it's post-firmament. Sharp winds held aloof the frozen heavens above. Frozen heavens? Frozen heavens? Like, are we talking about heavens as in, like, celestial, or is there something else? Because they're frozen? I mean, hey, if Nicole's teaser is anything to go by, Celestia, the shot we got of it, did kind of look frozen, to be fair, but it also could have just been something else. Not necessarily being frozen, so I don't know. Warriors were meant to obey their charge, to smother in their very cradles those rebels skulking in darkened alleys, those who dared shake the towering spire. Yet at the songs that flowed from the strings of that young bard's lyre, the warrior laid down sword and blade. Who is this warrior? Not by tongues of treason beguiled, nor by promises of illusion swayed. The warrior yielded only to the caged bird's yearning for the sky. A hunger writ in the blood of every living creature. Be they paupers bowed by bitter winds and clinging to the side of the boy, or the maiden wandering through pallid plains, calling upon 1,000 winds and blossoms. I'm not getting much from this. I feel there is stuff here, but it feels so vague. Be they a small sprite of the wind, I wonder who that is, hearts stirred by the boy's music, or soldiers going no less hungry than those they were bid to subdue. Be they old bards bereft of their eyes, or wandering craftsmen shorn of their hands. Or sick and ailing souls, countless in number, their names lost to the wild wind's howl. All alike, steeped in that song, gentle as the morning breeze, warm as dawn light seeping into cold nights. My brain ain't taking this in. Would lift their eyes as one and gaze upon the sky still far above. Even she, the god king's most favoured confidant, so Decarabium, that taciturn, iron-cold huntress, grim of tongue yet true of heart. Do we know of that many specific people from that time? In terms of Decarabium? I mean, obviously there's like Venti and his friend, but like, do we really? I mean, Decarabium stuff is a long time ago. I don't really remember if we know any real specifics. Surely 'twas but by duress of her erstwhile master that her fair hands were stained with innocent blood. For how else might a clutch of soft-spoken words have turned her away from the tyrant? Huntress is probably Amos. Oh, I kind of forgot about. I really need to brush up on Mondstadt stuff, don't I? Yeah, okay. Oh god, I feel like I'm being called out for not remembering stuff. But probably the boy that Venti's cosmo. Yeah. It's just like the warrior and the I guess soldier. I guess soldier's probably just regular. Is anyone specific? It sounds a little really confusing, maybe for effect. Well, that is Genshin's law, to be fair. That is. And set her feet upon the path of those who stood against him. Though ineloquent by nature, she too must have longed, like her companions, for a gentler dawn to come. And so the silent warrior cast aside both duty and name, weaving her snare from within the shadows. Gathering for the boy who sang of morning, the wind scattered across the long night, until at last they rose to blow against the towering gale whale. Gale whale? What's the whale here? It's also extra flowery and poetic because it's Mondstadt. Yeah, that too as well. Let the nameless flowers kiss away your tears and grieve not for the parting that tomorrow brings, until the breath of dawn erases my name and reveals for you the light that is true. Let the nameless flowers kiss away your tears and grieve not for... Erases my name. Well, I guess, I mean, and do we know who this warrior is? Because I feel this last line feels like implying that we don't. Because the breath of, I mean, it sounds like it's him talking from this line. So do we know do we have any clue? Like, am I just being stupid, like with potentially Amos again, or is this actually someone we don't know? Warrior, glad. Iron. I gotta write stuff down. This one definitely felt a lot more confusing than the first one. Well, they both were confusing, but at least I feel like the first one I had more thoughts, that's for sure. I feel like I kind of sped through that one, to be honest, because I just didn't know what to say. Okay then. A note in spring's leash, an hourglass filled with azure sand. For reasons unknown, no matter how it is turned, the grains within refuse to stir. Oh god, that sounds ominous. Iron blades failed to slash it, nor can imprisonment of stones confine it. The wind has no fear of the future, but constantly flows in its direction. Does it really, though? Does it really? Because, like, considering how much, like, the wind has to do with Istaroth and time and stuff, does it really just flow in its direction? I don't know if it really does. O sorrowful tyrant, no matter how much blood stains your hands, as long as the wind still blows, you shall not claim the freedom of song. As the tempest raged before the crumbling divine throne, the frail youth strummed the strings of his lyre for the final time. That's another thing as well. I don't know what to say at first, but like, in the crumbling divine throne, like, it's to do with, it feels weird wording, because like, this is, unless I'm misunderstanding it, that's Deca-Arabian. But like, the crumbling divine throne, it makes me think of what Focalors did, but like, it's also, but like, this is the Archon War period, so like, it's not like they would have a divine throne yet, so how can it crumble? I don't know how that works. Maybe it's just more just a word choice, but like, it still feels, it feels weird to use the same kind of words as a, Focalors if it's just meant to be more, like, it's not meant to be literal. Just feels strange. The melody once only played in the shadows of dark alleys, whispering courage to the downtrodden, was now tempered by weary years of strife. It was forged into a roaring defiance of the many, a tempest that no storm could rend asunder. Okay, then that's kind of nice. That's okay. That feels very Mondstadt-y to say a tempest that no storm could rend asunder, considering it's Deca-Arabian. That was cool. I like that wording. If mortal flesh could not transcend the seat of gods, if the song of this moment could not stay the hand of calamity, then let the desires of countless such moments merge with the yearning for liberty that echoes through unnumbered ages. What is it with Genshin and having things try to merge? I know this is more just like the desires, but like, it's still merging, man. They bring it up so much. Let the bone-chilling hatred of a single instant be diffused into the long span of time as petals adrift upon the breeze. Bloody time. In a single extraordinary moment, The youth, whose very body became the instrument. Excuse me? Whose very body became the instrument, strummed strings that once belonged solely to the master of... Excuse me? Okay, huh? That sounds like actually insane. What? Very body became the instrument. Became the instrument. And strummed strings that belong to Isteroth. Like, what the hell? Isteroth. Okay. Even the mother of the thousand winds was stunned. I mean, yeah, I'm stunned as well, man. I can't blame her. Her eyes falling briefly upon the desolate northern lands. That violent, fleeting storm transformed into a 1,000-year-long poem of wind and hue. Into breezes caressing clear springs and fragrant fruit wines, into the distant song of pines and pastoral melodies across viridescent fields. It became the sword that pierced both royal blood and the venomous dragon. It became the solemn vows of old and the sighs of lovers. At the break of dawn, the symphony of 1,000 years began its first note. Its name is Mondstadt, and all who hold freedom in their hearts are its musicians. Huh. How? I'm just trying to think, like... It says a symphony of 1,000 years, but like... Isn't Mondstadt older than 1,000? Because, like, Arkham period was how long ago exactly? Like, it was over 2,000, right? So, like, it's over... It's more than 1,000, but okay. Unless I'm, like, misinterpreting? I mean, I feel like I don't know. Huh. Okay. But the flesh and blood of the first to strike the strings could not carry the weight of a nation's song. The great symphony summoning the usurped power of time poured a moment's burning fury into a 1,000-year instant. The bard's body fell with the collapsing tower, and the name that ought to have endured was swept away by the winds of time. Like frail snows melting upon the breach of spring, it was lost beyond recall of both memory and voice. Only that tiny wind spirit, on the day when the mother of time and wind bestowed her authority, claimed silently a strand of time from bygone days, along with the name that even the reversal of years could not save. So it kind of... damn. Damn, the start of that. It reminds me of the end of this one as well. The name... The Breath of Dawn erases my name. It's like the names are... I guess it is very Mondstadt-y. Where was I? My dear friend, take now this breeze of 1,000 years, and with it a yearning for joy and dreams of liberty. Do not grieve for me, while the winds still blow, folk shall sing, as I once did, of their hope for tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, it's like... So the first one was like... Granted, the artifact sets, each piece never seems to be in a proper order, to be fair. But the first one is kind of like a general overview. The second one feels mostly focused on the warrior. The third one's like Venti's friend. Half of it is. I wonder what the other two are going to be about, specifically. I mean, it's all like Deco-Arabian time, but like who specifically? Heldenepos's unspoken tale? An ancient goblet, its azure surface weathered by time. It doesn't look like it. What do you mean? It is rumored to have belonged to an unnamed bard in ages past. I cannot speak. This is concerning. This is the first artifact set. That was a barren age of old. Okay, it's starting the same way. A past when gentle spring winds had yet to melt ice and snow. Cups of azure had never held sweet wine. Naught but bitter songs flowed from mortal lips. The taciturn archer loosed the last arrow at the tyrant, spilling her lifeblood to pierce the unyielding wind wall. Okay, so it probably is. Okay, yeah. Okay. That seems more likely. The chorus of defiance swelled, and the breeze surged into a tempestuous tide, striking deep into the heart of the lone king. Thus should have ended the rebellion of mortals against gods, for the Lord of the Storm was cast down from his high tower. Yet before the heroes, breaking free from their bonds, could mourn their fallen comrades, a wild storm gathered, fraught with malice to engulf all who were granted a new life. That was the final lament of the tyrant, forsaken by all, his delusions unmade, amidst the wreckage of his... Oh! So so that feels like that's like when a god dies, like... How does Zhongli word it in his first story quest? Like with Havria, like the people around her turn to salt. Guizhong, like the sky in the pillar area turns dark. What do we call that? Like I don't know. But it feels like that's what's happening. Like the I guess the aftermath of his death is what this is. Even the frailest of gods, clinging to resentment as their end nears, can topple the mightiest stronghold wrought by mortal hands. Let alone the God King himself, whose might could sever frost and snow, cleave mountains asunder with winds of wrath, and fell drakes with a single arrow. Those who had poured every ounce of their strength into the strife of god-slaying, bro, what is this, HSR, could now no longer stay the unforeseen woe. The hope newly kindled upon the ruins seemed destined to be devoured by the wrathful storm, ushering in utter desolation. At the very instant when roaring annihilation was about to strike, what came into view of the sprite, the knight, and all beneath the tower, was the boy, frail of form and unskilled in war. He strode into the raging wind, while his fingers danced upon the strings of his lyre. Never before has any song revealed the hidden secret of that hour, nor has any poem probed its truth. The wind, which had teeth to rend the very bones of the earth, fell abruptly silent. Later devotees would call it a miracle. None but the exalted god of songs knows the words inscribed before the dawn. Okay, so this is it's very similar to the last one. It's kind of... I guess it's kind of... It feels like if you were to read this in a proper order, it feels like the goblet leads directly into the sands. If not directly, very closely. Because yeah, it feels like, yeah. And held in Epos' unspoken tale. I mean, this feels like a name. I don't know if it's meant to be Venti's friend, but I mean, we're saying in the last one that it's saying that he, where was the wording? I can't remember where it said it. But like, his name's essentially lost to the wind. I mean, artifacts are weird, but I don't think so. But it could be. It definitely feels like the goblet leads directly into that, though. I want to take that name down. Well, but what is presumably a name? Question mark. Okay. Min Song of Love and Lament. How is this a circlet anyway? Same question with this set. How is this a circlet? The circle looks more like a goblet than a goblet. What name? I'll just. This feels like a name to me. I don't know if it is, because it is just the artifact set. But held in this feels like a name. I'm just writing it down just in case, but it feels like a name. Min Song of Love and Lament, a luxurious hair accessory adorned with jade and azure crystals. I would say it's just jade. It's not even crystals, really. I guess kind of is. Said to have once been a token bestowed by the Lord of Storm upon a favored recipient in ages past. Blood red wine gleamed in golden cups. Water-hued jade lay upon pale braids. Bare feet no longer treaded slivers of silver snow. Only slivered silver felled about her sneak like... Jesus Christ, that is a mouthful. That is a mouthful. Bare feet no longer treaded slivers of silver snow. Only slivered silver fell about her feet like snow. That is... that is a mouthful to say. Holy... Beneath the shadow of the towering spire, amidst a prison of delusive enchantment, the huntress believed herself cherished by a tyrant. Consider the wandering craftsman who proffered to her a mechanical singing bird of pure gold. So that was the Gratini clan, someone from that clan. Begging only for his life. Both his hands were shorn by her king's cold, sharp wind, lest such a toy ever be made again for another's delight. When the bloodline steeped in ancient ignorance bowed down to the wrathful wind, offering her like a sacrifice to the king of the spire, the huntress who once roosted with owls on withered boughs and danced with hawks across the plains, knew not the Lord of Wind, feared by all, would elevate her to the place of favoured counsel. So skilled was she with the bow. Before she met her king, she knew not the tenderness of love nor the searing sting of hate. Before she met her king, no human heart had ever stirred the huntress trade in the plains. If there are those born with dreams of kindness and liberty, yearning to cleave the wind-wrought wall of desolation with their song, and even if the gods may be ensnared by their own delusion and conceit, doomed to drown in the barren dream called eternity, then there are those born wanting, only able to fill their hollow hearts with blind devotion. If there are those born with dreams of kindness and liberty, yearning to cleave the wind-wrought wall of desolation with their song, and even if gods may be ensnared by their own delusion and conceit, doomed to drown in the barren dream called eternity, then there are those born wanting, only able to fill their hollow hearts with blind devotion. Are we saying that this whole first section is to do with blind devotion? I mean, it feels like if we're saying it right after. It doesn't really feel like blind devotion, no. Well, it wasn't really that devoted, was it? In the first place. My beloved master, save you, none have shown me gentle dreams. Neither the kiss of waves upon sand, nor green wood's embrace of verdant earth. The fierce wind never reflected the suffering of cowering ants, and she beheld none but the lonely figure of the God King. For her master and saviour, who taught her the meaning of love, it was fitting that those fearful, loathing eyes were quenched. However, it mattered not the victory she offered to her king, how many throats she pierced in his dungeons, how many rebel villages lay in ruins, how many times whispers were gently spoken in his ear, The king, enthroned atop the spire, crowned by the fierce wind, who scorned, oppressed, and indulged each of his subjects, never poured upon her the love he spoke of. Never was he miserly in the love given to the commoners, that fierce wind that could tear mortal flesh. I mean, that's not exactly surprising, is it? He's known as a tyrant for a reason. And I guess, yeah, that goes back to the blind devotion from here. Awoken from blind devotion, she realized she was the only one who spoke with sincerity. Again, Decorabian was a tyrant. From the first meeting and all the days between, her likeness was never mirrored in the depths of his eyes. Yes, if even dances offered beneath the veil of wind and gentle whispers could not earn her a moment of his gaze, if all bloodied glory and the delight of slaughter could not make him look only upon her, then let his gaze linger forever upon the moment her image was seared into it. Then this she could grasp, the sole treasure worthy of repaying the king's love. This alone, of all that he had shown, might rightly be named as love indeed. I guess if you're gonna take anything, he's a tyrant. I don't think he's really capable of love as a whole. So if you're gonna cope for any reason, for he spoke of love, but was only accompanied by razor winds. My beloved master, save you, my heart shall love no other. So I beg you, look only upon me, none but me. Thus spoke one, a mortal knowing naught of love, to a god who could not know it. Even in the moment they tore each other apart, neither had ever truly known the other's heart. Well, that was a kind of depressing end. I mean, it's Decorabian. Half of it's not depressing. But, compared to the other pieces, Jesus. Okay. That one was a whole different... I feel like the middle three feel very... they're all connected, because they're all Decorabian. But the middle three felt very closely connected, and the flower and the circlet were very... They kind of felt their own separate pieces. They all separate, but, the flower and circlet... I think mainly the flower, to be fair. Because at least she's mentioned in the bloom. But the flower especially felt very detached from the rest of it. Because it's it's talking about the clans and then Istroth and Arcadia. Arcadia is not mentioned in any of the others. Even Istroth is only, I think, mentioned in one of the other ones. Was it this one? I think it was this one, right? Was it this? No, it was the Sands. Yeah. The flowers. Okay. Well, half a page of notes for one. The one that I knew would confuse me the most because it's Mondstadt stuff, so I don't remember it as much. It's a pretty decent start. Also about 50 minutes again. Also a decent start because I feel like if I've got 4 artifact sets to read through. If I really try and decipher each and every single word, I might be here for 10 hours. Next will be one which I really wanted to read earlier, but I also didn't want to just read it. I kind of wanted to just record it and read it, but I also kind of wanted to wait till when I was streaming. But I have been looking forward to this set. Partially because it's also Columbina's set, so I am biased. But I am looking forward to this one. I don't know which one's gonna... honestly, I feel like as I go along, each set's gonna have more lore. Or potentially. Because, this one's Deco-Arabian stuff, it's some of it's new to me. Well, potentially new to me, I may have just forgotten. Then we have more Moon stuff, then it's Celestia stuff, then Snezhnaya stuff. So I feel like each one is gonna make it progressively more important. Could be wrong. This one could be the most important. I don't know, but I feel like it's gonna get progressively more important as we go. Moonlit Offering's Opulent Dream. A meticulously carved floral ornament meant to highlight the resplendent beauty of the goddesses of the heavenly moons, crafted in ancient times by artisans who sculpted statues of them. So I guess Hyperborea. I mean that they worship the moons and, well, practically everything, to be honest. I would have to assume it would be Hyperborea. Let me have a drink first. Okay. Once there was an age when the silver wheels that guided the primal heavens yet remained three. Silver wheels, huh? And I guess circle. Makes sense. That guided the primal heavens yet remained three. At that time, the laws bestowed from the heavens had yet to be assembled, and the boundaries of humanity had yet to be defined. The sons and daughters of the gods were scattered across the newly wrought gardens and valleys, their numbers countless. The envoys of the sky walked among benighted human crowds then, sowing prosperity and wisdom. In the end, the prosperity promised by the gods kindled the flame of intellect, which in turn stirred the whispers of doubt. So I guess, yeah, the beginning of the downfall, I guess. What? Hold on, going back to this, why are we saying there was an age, as if it doesn't exist anymore? I know that's not what it's meaning, but that feels very strange. The boundaries of humanity had yet to be defined. What does that mean exactly? I mean, I guess... I guess if you look at it as it is now, like, more celestial beings are very cut off from humanity, and I guess at this time, going to this, I guess they're more mingled together. Is that what we're talking about, maybe? Potentially. The laws bestowed from the heavens had yet to be assembled. Okay. In quest of the answer, the people chose their priests. In fear of the answer, the priests anointed their kings. Age when the mooses were three, I assume. I mean, yeah, but that part I got. I was more just like, the boundaries of human. Like, what does it actually mean? But I guess if it's yet to be defined, I guess it's like when they were cut off. Or maybe it was when they were imprisoned. Maybe the Second War happened. Well, yeah, I guess it's between the First and Second War. At some point there, but... The people chose their priests. In fear of the answer, the priests anointed their kings. Mortal folly stirred the ire of the gods' envoys. Faced with their questions, the divine envoys uttered no word. And so the people turned their gazes towards the sky, offering sacrifices to the three bright moons in the dark sunless night. So I guess the laws here, is that referring to... I mean... I don't think it clicked at the time, but during, I think it was Action 9, Nicole says something like the angels are created by like humanity way back then. I didn't click at the time, but when I was going back through the quest, I was like, that is very weird word choice. And then now this makes me think, like, maybe the whole, like, the angels can't look upon a human with love, which obviously we know that happens. But I guess like that's what that these laws mean here, like that before that was even assembled. Is that the law we're talking about? I guess it's laws plural, so that could be just one of them. Above the night sky, the daughters of dreams and poetry kept vigilant. The daughters of dream and poetry. That's a new kind of So I'm assuming it's talking about the Moon Sisters here. That feels logical considering the last paragraph. Daughters of dreams and poetry. That's very strange. Like, dreams is Sumeru, poetry is Mondstadt. Kept vigilant, unceasing watch over the mortal world's every change. In the deep slumber of the Aryan Rod realm? Orion Rod realm? I've never heard of that before. Orion Rod realm? In the deep slumber, at the foot of the 70-tiered staircase, beside the gleaming silver vessels, until they heard that the hearts of these pitiful little humans would also stir with the lunar quakes. Lunar quakes? Oh god. Oh god. Okay. In the deep slumber of the Aryan realm, at the foot of the 70-tiered staircase, beside the gleaming silver vessels, until they heard that the hearts of these pitiful little humans would also stir with the lunar quakes. Aryan Rod is mentioned in official signature weapon and Itlu would die. Oh. Okay, I don't think I've ever actually read Mitternacht Waltz and Itluas. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, those are two things I've actually never read, so makes sense. I don't recognize it. Okay. 70-tiered staircase missing spiral abyss. I imagine that means we're gonna get 70 spiral abyss floors. Imagine. At the foot of the 70-tiered staircase, beside the gleaming silver vessels, until they heard that the hearts of these pitiful little humans would also stir with the lunar quakes. I guess if you in terms of the spiral abyss, I mean, yeah, there is like, I think it's just floor 11 and, well, actually, is it 9 and 10 as well as 12? I can't remember if it's all 4 of the ones which rotate, but like, there is a moon in that domain. Beside the gleaming silver vessels, until they heard that the hearts of these pitiful little humans with also some of the lunar quakes. The night cast its eyes upon the earth, just as the silver stars once lit the way for the dragon's skyfaring ships. Like the Tonatier or something else? I mean, I just think sky and ship and dragon, I just think they're Tonatier. They brought madness and inspiration back beneath the moon. It was a reply that the Order could not give. What, the Abyss Order? Hold on. The night cast its eyes upon the earth, just as the silver stars once lit the way for the dragon's skyfaring ships. They brought madness and inspiration back beneath the moon. It was a reply that not the Order, that Order could not give. It's just the way it's capitalized. When the Morningstar rose again, the archpriestess returned from the mountain summit with a small circular talisman. This moon wheel was the new pact between the 3 moons and the... So is this like the first moon wheel? Considering we're mentioning it, this makes me think this is the instance of the first moon wheel coming into existence. When the morning star rose again, the archpriestess returned from the mountains. So the I mean, again, assuming this is Hyperborea, like the archpriestess of this time was the first one to get a moon wheel. That's what it feels like. The stairs could refer to the stairway to Celestia, imagery similar to Nicole's alt and art, maybe. God, there's so many things stairways could be. Oh god, there's actually so many things it could be, couldn't it? I mean, this set did release before Nicole came out, so maybe not that, but I could still see it though. We're talking about moons and like gods and stuff, so yeah, mate. Huh. I want to write this down. So, okay, presumably, an archpriestess from what I assume is Hyperborea. I feel that that's the only one which makes sense. Received the first moon wheel. Well, what I assume is the first moon wheel. I wonder what element it was. I wonder which one was the first one. This moon wheel was the new pact between the three moons and the people. Oh, I'm not. I think I was interpreting this part wrong. Okay. So I guess it kind of go back to the start, doesn't it? Okay, yeah. I read that wrong the first time. Okay. Moonlit offerings parting light. A quill that, in ancient times, granted boundless inspiration to priests who penned prayers to the heavenly moons. So I guess the ones which wrote the prayer songs for the moons in... What was it called? Oh god, what was the crazy law book in Hasty Island called again? Hymns of the Far North, that's what it was. Maybe they reused these plumes. Once there was an age when the silver wheels that guided the primal heavens yet remained three, okay, same as before. At that time, the winged one who tread upon morning stars and dwelt high above the moon became the lord of the eternal heavens. Is that it? I don't remember. Granted, I mean, there's a lot of bloody titles, but that feels like a new title for him. At that time, the winged one who tread upon the morning stars and dwelt high above the moon became the lord of the eternal heavens. The Ark. Oh my god, there are so many different capitalized things here. Oh god. The Ark was moored. The matter of creation complete. What am I reading? The Ark was moored. The matter of creation complete. The mountains and rivers were wrought in their turn. Beneath the earth and deep within the seas dwelt the fallen clans and broken kings of the old world. The Lord of the world within the egg. Is this like the second time the eggshell's been mentioned? Like since like way back when? I feel like it's been a long ass time since we've actually had an eggshell mention. For the firmament. The Lord of the world within the eggshell drew a false veil to shut out the true bedeviled skies, obscuring dread that once robbed kings of sleep, even those who held dominion over beasts. Oh, that reminds me back to a quote way back in the Fontaine Narcissus quest. What was it? There was some quote back in that quest which I remember hearing that like referenced Ryan Dodder, and then it also mentioned something about the Beast Realm. It kind of reminded me of that for a second. Phanes was referred to as the eternal throne of heavenly before sun and moon. God, the guy has like 80 billion titles, man. It's impossible. It's impossible to keep track. There's too many. Can we just like keep one, please? Just refer to him as... I guess it's Fanies, isn't it? It's not Fanes, it's Fanies. Gotta think. We have an actual pronunciation now, so. Where was I here? Beneath the earth and deep in the seas dwelt the fallen clans and broken kings of the old world. The lord of the world within the eggshell drew a false veil to shut out the true bedeviled skies. You know, I'm trying to think how that works, actually. The eggshell, within the eggshell, drew a false veil. So kind of there's like 2, which it kind of goes back to 6.3, which I guess is the set that the patches came out. How it felt confusing. Within the eggshell, drew a false veil. Okay. Obscuring dread that once robbed kings of sleep, even those who held dominion over beasts. The sun's fierce light swept the heavens clean, but the freshly forged throne still reserved a place in the sky for the 3 sisters of the moonlit night. Perhaps by its design, even a world where the elements surge in perfect order still needed tides. Hold on. Perhaps by its design, even a world where the elements surge in perfect order still needed tides. Actually, still in the... Okay. The lectors of 30 Nights knew that alone they could not protect this lonely, desolate planet from the inevitable doom that approached. The lectors of 30 Nights. Lectors of 30 Nights. Lectors of 30 Nights. I can't tell if that rings a bell or not. Because, I mean, Lectors makes you think Abyss Lector, but that's not what it is in this case. Lectors of 30 Nights? Have we heard this term before? We probably have. They could not protect... Knew that alone, they could not protect this lonely, desolate planet from the inevitable doom that approached. Before the coming of the final extinction, no victor in the struggle of good and evil could be worse than the doom of falling together into eternal oblivion. Perhaps their former lord, shrouded in mist, would never find the answer, or perhaps that answer was already at hand. Probably Prince of the Moon Goddess, Lectures of 30 Nights, Eagle's Moon Sisters. Does it really? I mean, I guess it makes sense in context, but just... Yeah, I guess it does. I guess I was kind of thinking of it in the wrong way. Yeah. Well, another title. This is the issue, like, when it comes to me and my horrible reading comprehension. So, like, when I know the answer, it feels so obvious and I feel so stupid, but I can never actually figure it when I don't have the answer in my head. My reading comprehension is awful. It says their former Lord Nibelung, which would have to be Moon God. Yeah. Yeah, well, I didn't get that far, did I? Before the coming of the final of extinction, no victor the struggle of good and evil. Okay. Perhaps their former Lord shrouded in mist would never find the answer, but... Oh, you know, I did read that part, didn't I? Yeah, that makes sense. My amazing reading comprehension definitely on show. Oh, God. As they had hoped, the great ruler of the firmament spurned the destroyer veiled in black mist. No doubt, through its long voyage across the shadowed realms, it had witnessed countless stars meet their end. And so, they too chose order. Did they really? Or more accurately, they made space to accommodate it. Because, I mean, they argued. They went on the same page, so I don't know if they really chose. That was the age when the 3 moons shared governance with the Morningstar. That was the age when eternity was not yet eternity. Hold on. Age when eternity was not yet eternity. I just like that quote. It was not yet eternity. Huh. I mean, I guess it does make sense. But I feel like a lot of the theories for the past, like, I want to say 4, maybe we'll say 4 years. I don't know if it's quite been from the start, but it's always been like the Traveler is the Morningstar, but this is just like the Heavenly Principles is the Morningstar. I mean, I guess it could be both, but like, it feels weird. The Heavenly Principles referred to as the Morningstar. I assume that's what it means, right? I'm not misunderstanding that, right? That's what it's saying. I'm sure. I think. Moonlit Offering's final hour. This might be the last piece in the order then. An hourglass meant to commemorate the final hour, prepared by sages who, in ancient times, sought truth from the heavenly moons. Once there was an age when the silver wheels that guided the primal heavens yet remained 3. Maybe are all of these going to say that, or is there going to be one which is different? At that time, the primeval dragon, nurtured by the perfumed sea, sailed deep into the skies, disappearing into the mists among the... Okay, so this is like... just after he left, the first... Well, he only leaves once, I guess, depending how you view it. Like, this is after he loses and then, like, seeks forbidden knowledge. That's what it sounds like to me. Or I guess just the abyss. Sailed deep into the skies, disappearing. That's what it sounds like. So deep were those dark mists that even the light of 1,000 stars could not escape their great Jesus. That sounds insane. To find the answer before this planet was also consumed, the great dragon embarked upon an arduous quest alone. Before this planet was also consumed. That feels strange. I mean, if I'm right in assuming when it's talking, like, when in the timeline, I guess, it feels like Nibelung lost, then left, and then came back with a bit abyssal power, I guess, to fight back against the Heavenly Prince. That's the vibe I feel like is the case, right? But this feels like the reason for leaving is a whole different thing. Nibelung had already gone before Fanes arrived. Fucking Christ. This is... Oh, God. Okay. Misremembering lore, like usual. God fucking damn it. Why am I so bad at this? Nibelung had already gone before, and therefore in the first one. Fucking Christ. Why do I always do this? Huh. Still feels weird wording, though. To find the answer before this planet was also consumed. The great dragon embarked upon an arduous quest alone. He raised 3 bright moons from the ground and bound this tiny world tightly with the chains of the tides. Moonlight would illuminate the bountiful land through the long night of the end. He left because he knew the abyss was coming. Voyager had wanted, bro. This is what I'm saying. I forget stuff. I shouldn't even forget that. Like, Finale Deep was like a year ago. I should remember this. God damn it. And this is why I'm streaming it, so you guys can correct me when I say stupid shit. Thank you. Nibelung wants to find a solution to save Fat from anything or corrupt. Okay, yeah. This is why you guys are here, to correct me. Moonlight would illuminate the bountiful land through the long night of the end. Why is long night capitalized there? Until the dragon returned from the mist-shrouded realm. Yet as 1,000 years passed into another, the 3 moon sisters awaited in vain the return of their former lord, until the day that the winged descender arrived, treading upon the Morningstar. Wait, now I'm actually getting confused again. Well, like usual. Because it kind of says it here as well. Tread upon the Morningstar, but then it also refers to them as the Morningstar. What does that mean? Why would it say in two different ways? There's treading upon the Morningstar and also just saying they are the Morningstar. Treading upon the Morningstar. It was not the great enemy that would extinguish the stars, nor did it seem intent on plundering the wellspring sustaining the world's existence. Faced with this uninvited guest, the three guardians who represented the will of this planet debated endlessly. Yeah, we still don't have a clear picture of what the Morningstar is actually referring to. Yeah, that feels really strange. I think the Morningstar is whoever acts as the sun. Oh, and I could see that. It would make sense as a Morningstar, but it's just the weird part is treading upon it. That's the part which is weird to me. But I guess if you don't have a clear enough answer, then not really sure. It was not the great enemy that would extinguish the stars, nor did it seem intent on plundering the wellspring, sustaining the world's existence. The wellspring. What would that be in this regard? The wellspring? Sustaining the world's existence. I'm just trying to think, like, what is... Again, this may be a case of where I misremember how stuff works again. But, like, what exists... What do we know that exists back in that, like, that long ago? It's, like, from memory, it should be phlogiston, the primordial sea, and, well, now we know Irminsul. Is it one of those three? Is it a combination? Or am I misremembering details again, like usual? Probably. Or is it something else that I'm forgetting? Primordial sea, I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like in terms of a wellspring, Primordial sea feels like what it should be, but like considering we just got recent information that the Irminsul's there the entire time that was there before Heavenly Principles arrived. I don't know. But it said it does not seem intent on plundering. But then we also know the Heavenly Principles did change how Irminsul functions, so maybe it's not that. Probably isn't. Primordial sea probably does make sense. Or the most sense, and that's considering... It didn't seem to really... Yeah. Probably a Primordial sea, unless it's just something we don't know. I think. Faced with this uninvited guest, the three guardians who represented the will of the planet debated endlessly. But whether by submission or rebellion, by battle or by death, the Lord of Hosts would mercilessly crush all that stood in its way. Lord of Hosts. This has got to be yet again another title. I do not recognize this title for him. Is this a new title for this set? And I was just complaining 5 minutes ago how he has 80,000 titles. For this was the new world it had chosen for the children of humankind, and according to its design, both earth and sky would be reborn. Before the conquest of the day reached its fated close, the servants of the night could but bide their time. Oh god. My brain's turning to mush already, and we're 1.5 sets in. Yay. But we're going at a decent pace at least. I think. An hour 20 for 8 artifact pieces. I'll take it. About 10 minutes per. I need another drink. To be fair though, I do think this Snezhnaya set might take the longest. considering it's probably going to have a lot of new terms and things. Considering it's heading... I mean, I'm so looking forward to getting to this. I'm really looking forward to that. Reading artifacts on wiki is easy, but the news title is linked to what it's actually talking about. Yeah, that's fair, but part of me just wants to read it in the game. I kind of want to do that. Feels more authentic. It's such a bullshit reason, but... I mean, I read on the wiki when it comes to, like... If I'm, like, rereading stuff. Like, old stuff. When it comes to reading stuff new for the first time, I do like to read it in-game first. Moonlit Offerings Libation. Liban. A wine cup lost in the final reverie of an ancient rite, in which believers once offered sacrifices to the heavenly moons. Are we going to get any more talk about the moon wheel from the first one? I mean, if the previous set is anything to go by, probably not. Once there was an age when the silver wheels that guided the primal heavens yet remained three. Yet again. I read it once through in game, the reread and look at the wiki. Yeah, that's probably the best way to... That's one thing I definitely do too much. I need to stop doing. I'll try and remember to do it after the stream. I always just read stuff once. I need to read stuff at least twice when I read them for the first time. Because I feel like that would just help me remember it. Could be wrong, but probably should do that. So at least start doing that. The sleepers of the three realms had yet to awaken. Their dreams and yearnings were known only to the watchful night. The sleepers of the three realms had yet to awaken. Okay. To draw lost spirits into the moon's gilded halls, a giant silver ship sailed into the harbour of Meripus. The paradise once hallowed for the life that flows... Hold on, my brain's not taking stuff in. Hold on, let me reread. To draw lost spirits into the moon's gilded halls, a giant silver ship sailed into the harbour of Meripus. Meripus is like Remuria, right? It feels like a Remuria. The name feels like Remuria, at least. Maybe it's Hyperborea, though. Nah, but... Well, actually, Remuria is kind of also gold stuff, isn't it? I was going to say Hyperborea is more gold, so it's not silver, but so was Remuria. The paradise once hallowed for the life that flows within the breath of the elements now opens its gates even to mortals. Once hallowed for the life that flows with the breath of the elements now opens its gates even to mortals. Those who chase the tides laud the Silver King, offering songs and dances to the Triple Crown of the Moonlit Night. Triple Crown? We have a Triple Crown? I've done that a few times. Those who chase the tides laud the Silver King, offering songs and dances to the Triple Crown of the Moonlit Night. I'm gonna ask yet again. Silver King? Who is that referring to? Am I being dumb again? Yes. Silver King. Silver. Silver. Silver King. I can't think. When contrasted against the wrathful and merciless formidable father, the three moons' gentle light comforted all lost souls like a loving mother. Thus the peoples of the earth offered their greatest devotion to the lady mothers of the moonlit night. Some would ascend the heights of Vindagnya, presenting laurel-crowned verses to the bright moons. Others would step into the sacred altar grounds of Langan, letting finely carved jade accentuate the beauty of the night. And still others would, in the sacred groves of Arcadia, obtain golden bows from oak. Arcadia is mentioned again in this set. It's mentioned in both of the 6.3 sets. Arcadia... they would obtain golden bows or bows from Oakwood. Arcadia mentioned again, huh? Before the rising of the sun, all desires to divide the heavens were born here. But in the homeland chosen for the children of humankind by the Lord of the eternal heavens, moonlight was no more than a single strand of sacred grace. To probe the heavens was forbidden, for every quest beyond the appointed rules led only to destruction. Finally, when the long sword at the edge of the world cut across the sky, eternity itself reached its end. Oh God. When the long sword at the edge of the world cut across the sky, eternity itself reached its end. I'm gonna need some help for this. Long sword at the edge of the world. When Nod-Krai has been mentioned at the edge of the world by like Alice and stuff, right? Or was it just the web event actually, in terms of the Hexen Circle? And I think Alice mentioned it as well when you first met her. Cut across the sky. Eternity itself reached its end. I can't write right now. What am I doing? I mean, it feels very fitting, that quote, just because you think a long sword cutting across something and eternity just reminds me of Raiden Shogun, obviously. But in the homeland chosen for the children of humankind by the Lord of eternal heavens, moonlight was no more than a single strand of sacred grace. To probe the heavens was forbidden, for every quest beyond the appointed rules led only to destruction. Finally, when the long sword at the edge of the world cut across the sky, eternity itself reached its end. I can't think of... When the long sword at the edge of the world cut across... What the... Am I being stupid, or is this... I don't remember anything like this. Somewhere the moons were nice and Phoenix was a dick. So people praised the moons and eventually they were kind of like, hey, maybe fuck this guy Phoenix, yeah. But then Phoenix put the moons in the people. Is that what you're saying for like this last line? Or just like this last paragraph in general? I guess I could see it. If you are referring to it being this last line in particular, the long sword cut across the sky, the moons would be in the sky. I guess I could see that. Just the wording is... I mean, if unless you're referring to the whole paragraph. And I guess kind of the whole piece, to be fair, but... Eternity equals eternal moon. Huh. Let's... Eternal moon. Hey Ren, how you going? I'm getting stuck on lore again. Nothing new, essentially. Huh, okay. Yes, I guess I was taking the words too literally. And I was just like, long sword at the end of the world? Is this Yeah, I was taking it too literally, I think. Thank you yet again. You've helped me about 20 times already. That honestly might be cutting it short as well. Moonlit offering silver crown. What did you get stuck on? What didn't I get stuck on? That's the question. What didn't I get stuck on? There's a lot of things. But Dogbot's been helping me out a lot. A silver circlet set aside at the final syllable of a hymn, worn by poets who, in ancient times, sang in praise of the heavenly moons. Okay, I was wondering when they were gonna, like, it was gonna be anything different. Once there was an age, so, I mean, is it in order? Probably not, actually. Once there was an age when, of the 3 silver wheels that guided the primal heavens, 2 had fallen. The world, no longer sheltered by eternity, marched towards its final breath, awaiting the return of the new moon. When the eternal... Oh! Oh, that's really cool! Wait, I love that. It's referencing the web event. Yeah, wait, I love that. It's the exact same quotes as the web event for Nod-Krai. I love that. When the eternal moon fell, the heavens and earth were thrown into chaos. When the iridescent moon shattered, the crimson shadow sank into the abyssal sea. When the frost moon ceased to turn, nations faltered and fell into ruin. I actually love that those are the exact same lines from the web event. I love that. Oh, that's actually so cool. It's such a niche detail, but I love it. But thy primordial perfumed sea still rippled for the 1,000 lunar quakes that shook it each year. What are you referring to in a lunar quake here? Like literally like an earthquake on the moon, or is it something else? Because they've mentioned lunar quakes a couple times. But thy primordial perfumed sea still rippled for the 1,000 lunar quakes. Eternity is literal in this one because the moon's destruction is what threw everything in whack and couldn't life. So yeah, everything went to shit. Actually, I mean that's essentially what these 3 quotes we got back in the event we're talking about. For the 1,000 lunar quakes that shook it each year, and the long ballad woven from golden strings never ceased, even when silver stars were cloaked in dust. Through the layers of the sky's veil, the people of the earth could not bask in true moonlight. Yet the tides of the river of time bound them together, come shadowed night or sunlit day. We trace the paths of stars, or descend the stairs again. We're mentioning stairs again. Or descend the stairs of shallow slumber. Between sunrise and sundown we wander, seeking the answer behind the screen. Our hearts, no longer bound by eternity, still stir, faint yet unceasing. In dreams between the eternal and the fleeting, we await the final hour offered to the moon. Back to I feel like this last line should have been in the circlet, should it not? Because that's literally Moonlit Offering's final hour. I feel like this last line should have been in that piece. Okay. 2 artifact sets down. Both were cool as hell. I'm definitely more biased to this one. Because, well, it's moons and it's also Columbina set. But the Mondstadt stuff is also cool as hell. I'm also really biased because I just love this. I love how they mention these again. Okay. Almost about 2/3 of a page of notes. But I feel like I'm probably going to have almost a whole page just from this Snezhnaya set, so that's probably not too bad. Not too bad so far. Celestial Gift. Nicole set. This one, while these 2 are cool, I feel like, I mean, these two just look insane, don't they? A Celestia set and a Snezhnaya set. Like, these two are probably going to be pretty cool, I imagine. I can't imagine they're not. I don't know if I'm ready for this one. Heaven Sent Fragrance. Time for the real shit. Pretty much. The high heavens... I don't know if I'm ready. The high heavens bestowed an everlasting flower on their envoy, and greed was born of a life without end. Huh. Also, I just realized something. Well, not realized something, but... Am I crazy, or does the little blue bits in here not look like Dvalin? Like, if you kind of squint your eyes, does this little middle section not look like Dvalin? Or am I crazy? I swear it looks like Dvalin. It's a little abstract, but like the colours are there, the shape's somewhat there, like wings. I think I'm going crazy. I think I'm going crazy, man. Oh god, this is long. That's not too bad, actually. This is a lot of text. It's bulky. Okay. It was a golden age that has lived on only in the memories of a bygone world. An age where every choice was permitted. The first race to step into the void carried with them a precious innocence. As the newborn peoples of the young universe frittered away their blessings without restraint. Huh. It was a golden age that has lived on only in the memories of a bygone world. So I guess like the old world. An age when every choice was permitted. The first race to step into the void carried with them a precious innocence. I guess probably not void literally. Probably just void as in it's a whole new thing to them. As the newborn peoples of the young universe frittered away their blessings without restraint. Like, I don't even know if we're talking about Teyvat anymore. Why are we... The newborn people of the young universe frittered away their blessings without restraint. Huh. Void of space. This set might be trouble. This set might be trouble. The first race to step into the void carried them a precious innocence. As the newborn peoples of the young universe. Over billions of years... Jesus Christ, what is... Okay. Over billions of years, the fires of civilization lit up the endless stars. And ships wove through countless gates of star... Bro, what in the actual... the scope of this one might be a little bit insane. Okay. Adventures, conquests, and legends beyond imagining today. My legends beyond imagining today unfolded without end in the sea of stars. That is, until the fate of the cosmos was severed thread by thread, and giants and dwarves alike met the same end. Until the fate of the cosmos was severed thread by thread. Okay, hold. So, this is probably completely wrong. But it feels like, I mean, if we're saying this... It does, obviously, it feels like the whole overarching enemy of everything is the Abyss, right? It feels like it's referring to that is severing the fate of the cosmos thread by thread. If that is the case, what if that's actually the reason why the Heavenly Principles put in a whole system of fate in the first place? I don't know what correlation they would have, but I just feel like I feel this might be something there. To the fate of the cosmos separate thread by thread. I'm probably just speaking out of mass hysteria. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's fitting. At first, it was no more than a mass hysteria, or the fading of a dream. Giants and dwarves are suns, red giants and dwarfs star. Oh. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that probably makes more sense than actual giants and dwarves. That probably makes more sense. Yeah, my brain went to just actual giants and dwarves, but that does make more sense, doesn't it? Yeah. At first, it was no more than a mass hysteria, or the fading of a dream. Then, in the silence of the night, an entire civilization was erased. Next, extinguished dwarf stars streaked across the firmament like tears, and the embers of burned-out suns warped the very fabric of What in the actual shit am I reading? What am I reading? I'm sorry. In the silence of the night, an entire civilization was erased. Next, extinguished dwarf stars streaked across the firmament like tears, and the embers of burned-out suns warped the very fabric of space. I mean, it all sounds insane, but this second one in particular feels weird, because, it doesn't feel like we're, even remotely talking about Teyvat here. This is just the universe as a whole. So what firmament in that regard, then? Or am I reading too much into it? What firmament? I don't know what to write down even here in my notes. Because, it feels so insane that I feel like I just need to write it down word for word. But I don't want to do that. What's the point of having notes, then? At first, it was no more than a mass hysteria, the fading of a dream, that in the silence of the night, an entire civilization was erased. Next, extinguished dwarf stars streaked across the firmament like tears, and embers of burned-out suns brought the very fragments. Probably the Travelers and Fanny's backstories. Oh, I guess in referring to this, you mean? Because I guess that does make sense. It kind of gives the same vibe back to the Traveler's outfit. The wording does feel kind of similar, doesn't it? I can't remember what the wording in the outfit, but it did kind of give us a vibe that in civilization was erased, but how do I word it was insignificant in the grand scheme of things. It kind of gives that kind of same vibe. The important part is basically the universe is dying. True, but it just feels the firmament is throwing me off. I don't know. I think I'm reading way too much into it. Or not enough. It's talking about the wall, the cliff-off wall? Cliff-off wall. Or clip-off wall? Cliff-off wall? I'm not sure what you mean. Cliff-off wall? Am I being dumb? Or is this something else? It was only when entire galaxies evaporated into a void deeper than darkness did people finally came to realize the scale of the catastrophe. What people? What people in this regard? I forgot how to pronounce the... I was gonna say, I don't think we're talking about Genshin here. Okay, yeah. I think it is that just... It's a Q, I think, instead of C. Yeah, okay. Was anyone the entire list is devoted? What people, though? Huh. The descendants of the ancients rose in defiance, and over the millions of years that followed, conquered time and space in turn. Yet I haven't written down a single thing yet, because it's just so ridiculous. Hold on. It's the universe goes to shit, essentially. That is essentially the gist of it. But it is the firmament is mentioned. I can't remember it's our firmament, but there's some firmament mentioned. Okay. The descendants of the ancients rose in defiance, and over the millions of years that followed, conquered time and space in turn. I don't know how, but good on them. Yet the farther they pushed into the unknown, the more they understood the futility and sorrow of their struggle. The once glorious civilizations that set out alongside them had long since vanished without a trace. So essentially, yeah, again, everything is going to shit. One by one. To escape the annihilation that would one day engulf them all, those once passionate pioneers sealed off the pathways that span the cosmos. Huh? Those once passionate pioneers sealed off the pathways that span the cosmos. Huh? How do you even have a pathway in space? It's space. Pathways that span the cosmos. They retreated to giant voids amidst the numerous galaxies. So like dead space, essentially? Where there's nothing around? They retreated to giant... I guess they retreat to spots which have already been hit? Because everything there's kind of already been like erased in a way. Amidst the numerous galaxies, to the lightless edges of perception, as they clutch the last faint trace of hope. Imagine Genshin is just post HSR. I mean, I wouldn't put it past it. Well, honestly, it could be either way, to be honest. They could just be one and the same. The only issue with that is the wing glider in the space station. They retreated to giant voids amidst the numerous galaxies to the lightless edges of perception, as they clutched the last faint trace of hope. Yeah, it feels like, yeah, they were... I don't know what it means by they sealed off the pathways that span the cosmos, but essentially it sounds like they retreat to the areas which have already been hit. That's what it sounds like, at least. Like, what, unless it's just how... I guess it is just space. Could just be where there's nothing. I guess it may not even have to be where things are hit. It's just like there's nothing else around. So, like, maybe they feel they're safer. The first people who had mastered leptons sent forth chroniclers towards the limits of bionic matter in the hope of finding answers at the very last particle of existence. What the fuck? What is leptons? What is bionic matter? What the fuck? Leptons? I feel like this is like an actual kind of like thing. What is it? And then bionic matter, not bionic. I guess I could just look it up because I feel like the fact that it's not like phrased. Leptons? Lepton? I mean, I know it's AI, but we'll see. Leptons are a family of fundamental and elementary subatomic particles that make up all civil matter in the universe. Right. Baryonic matter. Is ordinary matter made up of baryons? Well, thank you. Subatomic particles. Like protons and neutrons. So I guess it's just it's what makes up the universe. That would probably be Voyager, who were looking for surviving world. That's a good point. That's a very good point, actually. Very first people sent chroniclers. Towards the limits of height. Okay. Hope of finding answers. Edge of existence, I'll say. Jesus. Particle physics, basically they mastered physics super... Okay, yeah. So essentially they're super smart. Essentially. As starlight wheeled on and the beacons upon the star charts went dark one by one, they at last extended their probes to the very end of time. Well, they mentioned space and time before, didn't they? Yeah. There all light had vanished, and all possibility was spent. Even the finest motes of dust had drifted apart. There was no turning point, no miracle to be found. What the hell? What happened there, mate? The light disappeared from the artifact. Hold on, I lost focus. There was no turning point, no miracle to be found. At the very end of fate, all that remained was a void of utter chaos and darkness. A void of utter chaos just feels like... What's the word? An oxymoron or something like that? Like it's a void, but it's utter chaos. It's like it goes against each other. Is that what the word is? An oxymoron or something like that? As starlight wheeled on and the beacons on the stars, so essentially as civilizations or just as, I guess, stars disappeared one by one. They extended their probes to the very end of time, which is insane. But I guess it goes back to them mastering it, or conquered. Every equation they had uncovered, every constant they had defined, now stood in silent proclamation of their end. It was in that moment that their history came to a close. Well, I guess yeah. If you send probes to the very end of time, well, I guess. I guess it's okay. Perhaps this so-called race that had transcended time was, in the end, nothing more than prisoners keeping vigil over a graveyard of stars. It's a so-called race that transcended time. That transcended time. Voyager question mark. Okay. No matter how brilliant a world or civilization may be, it shall in the end fall to its destined ruin in despair. And yet, why does the And why does the Voyager who wanders the void still dream of a dragon in a fragile little world? After untold millennia of silent contemplation, just before the anchor catch up with her, the sleeping Voyager finally awakened. How does the Voyager story go again? Is this essentially like what happens just like... Is this like... Would after this be when she goes back to Teyvat to find that Nibelung isn't there? And that's when she takes over the body of Soitavoinen and all that shit happens? Or is this a different time? Details, again, my stuff's up before. Probes in the time period means that these probes and the people in them are the civilizations they came from. Yeah. But in a way, also not. Because the so-called race that transcended time, like how do you... If they transcend time... It's kind of weird how you look... Oh god, this is such a weird set. Oh, this is such a weird set, man. I don't think I was prepared. Like, when I saw Celestial Gift, I was thinking, like, perhaps reading on shall answer? Okay, fair enough. I just, like, when I saw Celestial Gift, I was like, okay, Celestia set. Not universe and space and all this bullshit stuff. Okay. Heaven Sent Demise. The high heavens bestowed a feather of rebirth on their envoy, with all sin to be forgiven where even fate meets its very end. Well, that feels very fitting considering Amazon just got burned. The sky had been set ablaze by the blistering embers, which had also mingled with a rain of blood. Night had turned brighter than day, oh god. From the heavens fell a stellar spike that stirred the very stars, its brilliance dimming even the light of the false sun. Oh god. I feel like there is different potential answers to this, depending on interpretation. Hold on. From the heavens fell a stellar spike. The first thing I thought of was a nail, but I don't think a nail would stir the very stars and would dim the light of a false sun. The sky beset by the... Huh. I mean, I feel like we're back. I feel like we should be back to Tevat here, unlike the first piece. So, like, this should be during the War of Funerary Flame, I think, or is it the? God, I don't fucking know. For her, immortals have been ultimately a bit long and but they're still susceptible to still restriction and whatnot. Yeah, like erosion and stuff. Yeah. In the great city upon the frozen earth, the lights burn just as bright. Its great council hall lined with banners of every design. The arrows of defiance were ready to fly, their armed fixed upon the heavenly city. Even the newborn Fae were now armed for war. How newborn are we talking? like literally newborn? That's okay. The rebel leaders knew the final hour had come. Rather than cling to life, they chose to face death with equanimity. Yet the highest angel of them all sought by a little preaching hole in the outskirts, for she wished to speak her final words to the first awakened. What the... Oh, hold on. So in the great city upon the frozen earth. Hyperborea? Frozen earth, its ancient times, great city, Hyperborea? The lights burn just as bright. Its great council hall, and considering we're talking, it's got to be Hyperborea. And Fae, the eyes of The rebel leaders knew the final hour had come. Rather than cling to life, they chose to face death with equanimity. Hyperborea, yeah. Yet the highest angel of them all stopped by a little preaching hole in the outskirts, for she wished to speak her final words to the first awakened. What do you see in your eyes? A new hope or a fate sealed in death? This may not be the ending we wanted, but for you and me it is enough. To her detractors, she was the heaven's eldest daughter, who had been led astray by temptation. But those born in chains could never grasp the value of freedom. Those born in chains refused to believe that the exalted envoy would dare betray the divine, just as they dared not face the lies of the sky. So I guess I'd rather live in ignorance. That's what this feels like. Upon the platform stood a body once mortal, and since worn and broken by the toll of the ages. In those starlit eyes a golden flame flickered and then faded. Her final answer was, in the end, was nothing more than a long silence. Huh. Okay. On the right. There's not much to write down, is there? A lot of it is stuff we kind of knew. For the most part. So far, at least. Even knowing that, at the end of fate, what awaits this world is a destruction none can escape. Like mayflies, they live and die in the span of a day, and still they fight for a future thousands of years away. Hope still rests with the ordinary people, and from among them something greater will one day emerge. But we have bought too little time, not enough for a miracle to take root in this age. Is this what was the thing called again? From the He's the Island World Quest? It wasn't like... Oh god. What was the project where like... Oh fuck, what was it called? I don't think I can go back long enough in my notes. Where was the start of my Nod-Krai notes? Where even is this in my notes? No, that's too... Hold on. Oh, hold on, it might be right here. No? No, I don't think so. Never mind. Hold on. Give me a sec. Seed of Life project. That's what it was. Is that referring to that? I feel like it is, right? Because among them something greater will one day emerge. I think it's referring to that. You have lit the first flame, but this was never your war, and you should not have to bear a sin that was never yours. My dear companion, you who woke me from my dream of ignorance, pray while there is still time, return to the world which you belong. Well, I mean, that might be a bit late for that. The nail of judgment cast its shadow upon the earth, as the mind of she who walked before the rest lingered in a dream left unfinished upon the desolate land. Even if it meant that she would be bound for 10,000 years, and that the snows of the far north would sink into a shadow unknown even to the gods. Hold on a second. The nail of judgment casts its shadow upon the earth, so essentially it's falling. As the mind of she who walked before the rest lingered in a dream left unfinished upon the desolate land. Even if it meant that she would be bound for 10,000 years, and that the snows of the far north would sink into a shadow unknown even to the gods. That last line is interesting. A shadow... So I guess, like... So I guess it's... How does that... Because, like, if they nailed it... Well, I guess they wouldn't know... Like, if it's, like, an anchor situation where it's sunk like anchor, like, I guess they thought it was destroyed because they nailed it, but it still kind of lingered, in a way. Is that what it's meaning? Which, I guess it does say sink. It feels like it's saying the Hyperborea is part of the Dark Sea. Or sunk into the Dark Sea after being nailed. Unless I'm misunderstanding that, which is probably likely. Honestly, it's probably more than that. It's probably very likely that I misunderstood that. Would sink into a shadow unknown even to the gods. Let's write that down. Feels important. Well, probably. At least. Because I don't think I feel like we've known, obviously, they got nailed. But that's kind of all we know. I mean, we know that people left, essentially, and, over time became the first in science. But apart from that, in terms of Hyperborea itself, I don't think we knew that much about what happened afterwards, do we? Unless I'm just forgetting. Huh. Heaven sent decree. The high heavens bestowed a sundial of counter-time on their envoy, and an inviolable interdiction became a wellspring of rage. That really stuffed me up. And an inviolable interdiction became a wellspring of rage. Observe, calculate, record, and inscribe. Every world within the reach of wisdom is being engraved into the eyes of the void. That unknown to the gods part, are going to be important and come into play in Snezhnaya? Yeah. I hope so. I hope it comes back up in Snezhnaya. Observe, calculate, record, and inscribe. Every world within the reach of wisdom is being engraved into the eyes of the void. For some reason, the race that had claimed to have transcended time continued to carry out an eternal mission among the stars. The closer we get to Snezhnaya, the more cryptic things are getting that makes my head hurt. Yeah. The closer we get to anything, I feel like the stupider I'm getting. Which isn't good. Well, maybe I'm probably not getting dumber. It's more just like I'm streaming stuff now, so like when I say something, I get corrected more. Like when I was just playing on my own, I don't get corrected because I don't know if I'm right or wrong. But now I kind of do, so I feel stupider. Despite their knowledge that the darkness which erases existence itself was an inevitable end beyond all return, the chroniclers, the descendants of the ancients, remained faithful to their mission, engraving every star into memory. And this Voyager, newly awakened from the void, was but one among those countless chroniclers. So it feels like you probably go flower than sands. The plume feels like probably one of the last, if you're meant to read it in an actual order. Though its light had dimmed greatly from a remembered brilliance, the starry expanse all around still bore witness to to existence in its desolation. Yet this was not far beyond the Voyager's expectations, for it aligned almost perfectly with the calculations on the celestial chart. I mean, they mentioned a star chart before, and now a celestial chart. I kind of wish I knew more what that means. Huh. I guess is this meant to mean like they had like their calculations? They kind of were able to predict how, what I'm presuming is the Abyss in this respect. It was able to predict how the Abyss would act on its path, which feels weird because I don't think you're meant to, like, the Abyss is not something you can really predict, is it? So if like they were able to predict where it would go and what it would destroy. Also, the earlier mention of cutting pathways through space might be differing individuals isolating various worlds by kind of. Oh. That's a different way of looking at it. Yeah, okay. Like, kind of, in a way, kind of what the Heavenly Principles did. Because as much as we hate them, they are also protecting us with the false sky. I could see it. Huh. One detail diverged, however. A single point of light absent from the star map, where the image departed slightly from what was foretold. I wonder what that point of light could have been, or should have been. Going back to what you was just saying, I feel like that's got to be Tevat, right? Because it's absent from the star map because it's hidden. Because of the firmament and the false sky and everything like that. In the memories she had archived in the library of her distant homeworld, it was a newly born habitable planet. But now it lay shrouded behind several impenetrable fields, its primordial flame stripped of the radiance it was meant to bear. Its primordial flame stripped of the radiance it was meant to bear. Hold on, my brain's not... The planet's, I guess, primordial flame stripped of the radiance it was meant to... I know this is not what it's referring to. Well, I don't actually know it's not, but like I'm assuming it's not because I don't think it's what it's meant to be. I don't know what it's meant to be, but regardless. It kind of just makes me think of the Krajnik torch. And what Columbina was saying how... I think it was Columbina. Like, she said something about it being grand and distant. I know it's not what it's referring to, but like it kind of reminds me of that. I don't know why. I don't know. This isn't the Snezhnaya set, but it makes me think of it. And I hope the Snezhnaya set tells us more, but probably not. Stripped of radiance, Nibelung gone. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Because she... This should be after she presumably met Nibelung the first time and then left. Okay, yeah. It just feels weird to refer to Nibelung as Radiance, because Nibelung. It's Nibelung. But I guess that does make, yeah. But also Primordial Flame just feels... Huh. I guess... Yeah, I guess it's... Yeah. She called on memories long consigned to dust. Memories of how, once upon a time, she had visited the sovereign who ruled that world. Ruled, past tense, obviously. Where had its former master gone? And why had the new descender built that shell that bound all life within? The chronicler's kind abided by ancient laws, one of which was to never interfere with what they observed. Abyss might be spreading across the universe like in waves, kind of like a reverse Big Bang. That is a... Oh god, imagine... Oh, that's a weird thought. A reverse Big Bang. But I mean, it does make sense. It is just going through and just tearing everything to fucking pieces, essentially. Not even that, it's just obliterating everything. However, should those branch... Wait, hold on, did I read that? Yeah. However, should those branching paths of time that seem to hold endless possibilities be nothing more than a veil of ignorance leading to a single end, why are we still driven by instinct and nature to explore every path in the labyrinth of fate? Perhaps the time for change had come, or perhaps it was merely the result of curiosity. Her mind reached into the world within the shell. How does finale of Deep Galleries go again? Because, like, is she nearby to that when she does this, or is it not? Do we not know, or is it... I can't remember how that works. The abyss is kind of the heat death of the universe when you look at it zoomed out. The heat death of the universe? I don't know what you mean. The heat death of the universe? Should I look that up? What do you mean? Wikipedia, help me. Like, I don't know if I quite get what you mean. I think I'm just being stupid though. She took over the star I bought. Yeah, but I was more like, where was she? Like, where was she? Like, her body at the time, I guess. God, I feel like my brain's turning to mush. I feel like it's fake. The universe is constantly expanding at an increasing rate. Eventually, physicals break and everything dies. Oh, that sounds lovely. that sounds lovely. In a spaceship, but I was like, where was the spaceship? how far away is she doing this from? Like, is she doing this from the other side of the damn universe, or is she close to? Did she go closer to Teyvat to do that? Like, I don't think we know that, but it's just like, it makes me think or wonder, because it doesn't say here that she goes closer to it. I think. Because it just says her mind reached into it, which is still insane in the first place. I still don't understand how the hell she does that, but I don't know if we ever will know. Heaven sent reward. The high heavens bestowed sneak. Oh god, my brain bestowed sweet nectar on their envoy, and the unending feast opened wide the doors to desire. The wind of change was sweeping across the boundless land. Beyond the northern winds, the heavens blazed with stars, until upon the frozen earth stood a city stronger than heaven itself, and where peoples of every nation had gathered as one. Are we sure it's stronger than heaven itself? I feel like a specific track record would imply that's not the case. I feel like if that was the case, they would still be around. I'm just saying. And as people of every nation had gathered as one. Huh. Like, again, I'm assuming we're talking about Hyperborea here, but it kind of also reminds me of Khanrian as well. I guess they're both unified civilization, right? But still. Oh yeah, fun detail I found out today that apparently Nicole can speak even if you turn up the dialogue volume. No way. That's it's both, it's fitting, it's hilarious, but I know it's also would piss some people off, because like, like what if, like, you think, it makes me think back to like, the fountain outside of the Opera Epiclese, essentially in 4.0 and 4.1, when you turn your... I guess you have the dialogue volume app anyway, actually, never mind. I was going to say, like, hey, you got to turn your volume down to, like, hear the Frina, like, what she says and all that, and her crying. But that's dialogue volume anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. But, like, what if she's just speaking over the top of that? But that's actually so cool. But I know, it also would be really annoying if you're trying to listen and you need dialogue off. It says their civilization mastered time and physical matter, so anything possible really kind of Fane's locking down, honestly. Yeah. I mean, I guess when you look at it that way, like, it is kind of focusing on one non-issue, considering everything else they did, isn't it? It's like, who cares if they can send their mind in when they can do everything else here? So I guess it is a bit of a non-issue. Well, not that it's an issue, but yeah, I guess. Here they labored for dreams that had faded even before they could be fulfilled. Here they labored for descendants they would never meet. Here they labored for promises their creators had never kept. Here they labored for the stars they sought to reach in the future. The progress that was born of wisdom from beyond the world was, at this point, already outpacing a century of gains with each passing day. Okay, I mean, when you consider that perspective, yeah, maybe they would have been stronger than heaven itself if they kept going. Jesus. Yeah, okay. Huh. The human spirit yearns for all things new, as every young race once did in its innocence. Many a taboo, once considered inviolable, was now being broken. Yeah, okay. Just as every overreaching desire was being fulfilled. They sought the roots of human evolution, so that a new generation might rise with sharper minds and stronger bodies. I think that is also going back again to what was it before? I already forgot the name of it. What was that project called? I was just talking about it 5 minutes ago and I've already forgotten the name of the thing again. Seed of Life project, that's what it was. Voyager heading her iPhone to the tribes. That's a... Well, I've got to imagine, bro. That's a weird thought. But I mean, it essentially is. Honestly, it's even greater than that. Where was I here? They traced the headwaters of every tongue, carrying truths once veiled by the sky to every corner of the world. Relatable streamer. The mysteries once deemed as blasphemous were now spoken of freely to the children in their classrooms. The sky had never felt so close that they even believed they could challenge it. But this is no fairy tale of inheritance passed from father to son. The judgment of the master of the heavens does not wait for mortals to gather their strength, and that's why they got fucking nailed. Given enough time, they might indeed give rise to something great, something that could surpass all fate and design. But what of it? This world had never been prepared for them. That is the final verdict. Once the fall towards temptation begins, no matter what path they take, the result is one and the same. Free will invites nothing but uncertainty and calamity. Such is the truth taught by the cold laws of the cosmos. The mortals who stray beyond their bounds must be dealt with, just as wayward branches upon a tree must be pruned. But is this truly the only answer to the ultimate question? Are miracles not termed thus precisely because they defy all reason? Hold on, that goes hard. Considering the heavenly principles is reason? Hold on, that line. Are miracles not termed thus precisely because they defy all reason? Is that not like a really cool line? Am I hyping this line up too much? Probably. Yet for those of a bygone age, the chance to seek that answer was already no more. Yeah, so essentially, they felt threatened, and fucking got rid of them. Pretty much. Which is unsurprising for them. Does not surprise me at all. Also, we kind of knew... No, we didn't know. I don't think we know the reason why they got nailed. Or at least not to this level of depth, but... That's Heavenly Principles for you. That was definitely felt like a shorter one. Or at least it was like not as much was new in that one. Unless there was stuff that I missed. Am I correct? Is this normally the word? This is not normally the word for the goblet, right? Goblet of Eonathum? Have I just never paid attention to that? Like, ever in my 5.5 years playing this game? Almost 6 years at this point? I don't not remember ever being Goblet of Eonathum. Excuse me? I mean, all the sets say it. Bro, I might be going crazy. I think I'm reading too much lore that my mind's not working. Heaven Sent Crown, which this one doesn't even look like a crown, it looks like a goblet. The high heavens bestowed a splendid crown on their envoy, and arrogance was born out of power unchecked. I'm gonna have a drink before this one. Okay. The faint glow of the 3 moons was not enough to veil the murderous wind stirred up by the falling stars. I think it's always been that way. Am I crazy? Like, really? But like, maybe I've just never looked that hard at it, but I swear that I've never seen that word in my life. I might just be going crazy. I think that's probably the likely answer, but it's just like... I don't know. Okay. The faint glow of the 3 moons was not enough to veil the murderous wind stirred up by the falling stars. Beyond the northern winds, in the old capital, rebels from across the land gathered beneath the giant dome. The eldest daughter, once hailed as the Morningstar... Huh? Bro, what is the damn Morningstar, man? God damn this bloody Morningstar. What do you mean? Now sat enthroned in unforgivable sin. She raised the blade that once shattered the shackles placed on the people before the ever-growing ranks of her followers. Koita. Yeah. But still, Morningstar, okay, so Koita as the Morningstar, Heavenly Principles as the Morningstar, but the Heavenly Principles also treaded upon the Morningstar, what the fuck is the Morningstar, man? Why do we... It's feel like there's so many different times and reasons it's used. What exactly is it? She raised a blade that once shattered the shackles placed on the people before the ever-growing ranks of her followers. The herald ascended the high tower, preparing to proclaim her blasphemous words to the heavens. She was also called the Dawn Maiden, I think? Oh god, when was that? Where was that? And what piece was she... What... Damn. I can't speak. In what thing was she referenced as a Dawn Maiden? I don't think I can remember that. They're just kind of using that language for Celestia stuff. I wish I didn't. Because again, it feels like there's so many different... It kind of goes back to what I was saying before. How the Heavenly Principles has 40,000 titles. Can we just stick with one thing, please? If we're using interchanging things, it just gets so confusing. Which I know is the point, but damn. The herald is in the high tower, preparing to proclaim her blasphemous word to the heavens. The final war is about to begin, and I already know what it is I seek. I would rather have freedom, hard won though it shall be, than the comfort of shackles. It's probably referring to everyone who bring about a new era. I could see it. The Heavenly Principles, yeah. In terms of the Hyperboreans, they would see her as one. If the theories that have existed for 5 years, we could be a Morningstar, that would make sense. The only thing going against that is like before, where the Heavenly Principles tread upon the Morningstar. But apart from that, makes sense. Either cast them down from their throne in the heavens and bring them before a justice beyond this world. What is this HSR? Capital. The only thing different from HSR is the fact that the entire word's not capitalized. A Dawnbringer of a new era, yeah. But this is so similar to HSR, because they would just go, any Eon is them or they. It's such a similar vibe, which makes sense. But why are we even? This is another thing. Why do we keep referring to them as them as them? Because it's either them or him. It's never she or her. Because I think 80% of the time, it's them. But then there's also has been some cases like Piera at the end of God's Limits saying... What, is it he that he says? How does the quote go? When you first him as a him, as he, essentially. It's never she, so why do we still go them half the time? How does that work? Can Morningstar then equals descendant status? I don't think so, because if we're saying... Because Koita wouldn't be a descender. She's just an angel. Well, I guess Morningstar could be descendant status, but it doesn't mean it necessarily is descendant status. I guess. Kind of like how... not every Morningstar is a descender, but every descender would be a Morningstar kind of thing. I guess that you could say it that way, yeah. Hot take, the more I think of it, the more I feel like Koita's ruling was an overreaction to the truth. Isn't everything? Isn't everything, though? It's just a matter of perspective, is it not? The number one thing with this game is that no one is purely evil. Well, I guess except the Torre. But like 99.999% of this game is morally grey for the most part. Like, it really is just perspective. And then again, I think the only exception to that is the Torre. Which even then, it's not like he was a dog shit person. No one's doubting that, but like, it's mostly just because he wanted to do experiments. Or to be consumed by their fickle wrath and perish alongside the eternal fate they have decreed. I believe not in everlasting prosperity. Happiness is not a thing that can be designed. I believe not in the crown of sevenfold radiance, and nor do I bear any hope that its light truly redeems all. Alright, I zoned out. I believe... Well, not zoned out, I wasn't comprehending what I was reading. I believe not in everlasting prosperity. Happiness is not a thing that can be designed. I believe not in the crown of sevenfold radiance, and nor do I bear any hope that its light truly redeems all. I believe not in songs sung on bended knee, for this world is one that belongs to us. Wings brushed against wings in a dry, whispering hiss. For never since creation had so many angels gathered in one place. Huh. As if roused by thunderous war drums, beasts long forgotten by the world caught the scent of blood that tainted the divine. From lightless valleys in the far reaches of the outer seas, the most ancient masters of the earth also came forth to answer the call. This kind of goes back to what I was saying during Nicole's teaser. One thing I wondered during Nicole's teaser, I can't remember exactly why I thought of it, but like, I was wondering, there was one of the lines from Nicole's teaser where I was kind of wondering whether or not, well, I kind of felt like the rest of the angels didn't know about what Koita was doing, and like that's why the angels kind of felt betrayed in a way. Not betrayed, but that's why they... What was the wording? Like, they were kind of saying that the Heavenly Principles was not all-knowing and all that, and it caught them by surprise, and I always thought that was because they didn't know about what Koita did or was doing. But from the sounds of this set, they actually did. So it kind of completely goes against what I was thinking from Nicole's teaser. At least it seems like it. Ancient Masters equals Dragons. From Lightless Thousand Fighters still. Ancient yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That didn't click. I think it's a lot of things, but things are going over my head. It's actually kind of the opposite. Nicole's weapon, they sheltered Nicole. I haven't read that yet, so I didn't know that. I haven't read Nicole's stuff yet. She is level 6 at least, so I can do it. I haven't done that yet, so I didn't know that. They sheltered Nicole. Okay. Good to know. I guess that would make... In a way, they kind of... actually, I was going to say something with it to scratch that. Have you done Lowen's quest? No, I have not. I have not done it. I have pulled for him. I won't say whether or not I got him, but I have attempted. But I have not done his quest. Where was I? From the suffering ordained by fate, we have forged our own peace. Our great work has already long surpassed their grace. A pale star burns beyond the false firmament, and its very existence proclaims our victory. Even in failure, new possibilities will arise, for those yet to come are also watching us. Behold, the stars shine ever so bright tonight. What is the pale star in this context? A pale star burns beyond the false firmament, and its very existence proclaims their victory. What does it mean in this context? I'm not understanding that. Like, is he referring to someone? Did Genshin Twitter make any important posts in these 2 days? Yeah. Yeah, they did. I was gonna make a post about it, but I was like, no, I'll be streaming in a couple days, and then it'll be out a couple of days after that. So I was like, I won't make a community post about it, but I am very excited. I don't know if you're just trying to get me to think about it, or if you actually don't know. I can't tell if you're just trying to make me, you're trying to subtly ask about it or not. That was what a set. Voyager maybe with the 30%. I was thinking maybe Voyager. The Snezhnaya, sure. I was thinking if anything Voyager, but I also wasn't sure at all. I am so excited for that Snezhnaya short. Holy shit. I kind of do feel scammed though, because Columbina didn't get one. But realistically, it does make sense that Columbina didn't get one, because how would they do a Columbina short without spoiling her entire story before she comes out, or before 6.3? And also they wanted to give Varka one because, to be fair, it is Varka. But still, I'll be so excited for that short, man. I hope it's not short. I know, like they call animated shorts though, don't they? But I hope it's not actually short. Oh, it is called an animated short. Shit. I hope it's not. I guess they kind of all call them shorts though, because wasn't Arlecchino's also called an animated short, and that was like 9 minutes. So, well, I guess in Sunset as well for my weekend, that was like 11 minutes. So I don't know. I'm hoping for like at least 5 minutes. I don't know. I mean, how long was Skirks? I feel like Skirks was like 3 minutes. How long was Skirks actually? I don't think it was very long. It was still cool as hell. Don't get me wrong. But I kind of want a bit of a... Varka's was also pretty... Was it short? No, Varka's was a decent length. I just hope at least 5 minutes. Probably like 5 to 8. Yeah, that's... Yeah, sure. As in, not 1 hour long. I mean, hey, I wouldn't complain. I would happily sit down for something an hour long. I would happily do that. Okay. That is 3 sets down. And now we've got potentially the most terrifying of the lot to read. The Snezhnaya set. And I'm gonna just move to a new page for this, because I might need it. I just don't have much room left on that page in the first place, but... Disenchantment in Deep Shadow. Skirks' music... Yeah, that's fair. Skirks was like had like a... Well, I mean, so did Arlecchino's, to be fair, but like Arlecchino had like a secondary song released after the fact, which wasn't as long as the animation, because the song wasn't the whole thing. But I guess, yeah, Skirks, the music was the like part of the entire thing, so I guess it makes sense why it was shorter. Yeah, 5 to 8 minutes is definitely the go-to kind of length. But then again, hey, any longer than that, I will not complain. It just means that the longer it is, the longer it's going to take for me to upload the video, because like Varka, Varka's animation, how long was it again? I can't remember. Hold on. How long was Varka's animation? Where was it? It was 7 minutes, and how long was my video? Like half an hour? It's like, it just means the longer the animation is, the longer it's going to take for me to upload it. Well, look at this. There is 5 straight thumbnails with Varka as the only character in it. What the hell? I didn't realize that. Oh, God. I don't know if I'm ready to read this set. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be so many different terms and everything, and so much potentially new stuff, that it is very daunting to read. But I guess I might as well just get straight into it. Honestly, I feel like I'm ahead of schedule. I was thinking I might take an hour for each set, but we're at 2 hours 40, and I've done 3 sets, so we're going at a decent pace. Iridescence that ceased amidst glory. Oh, also before that, I wonder when whatever this means is gonna happen. The all-new blessing may be attained as you make your way towards Snezhnaya. That makes me think, when 7.0 releases, that we'll get more to do with that. But at the same time, like, I think it's safe to say, this is going to be Snezhnaya's set, right? I don't want to actually know, by the way. I'm just assuming it's Snezhnaya's set. So is it going to release when Snezhnaya comes out because she has the stellar linchpin, or are we going to have to wait until Snezhnaya comes out? I don't know. I'm very curious as to what it's going to be, though. I guess it's going to have like more stats added to it to do with stellar linchpin, maybe? That's my only guess. Iridescent Season's Glory. It was a flower of silk gifted to her by a friend whose hands were as cold as ice. Who is her? Okay. Oh god. Here we go. Here we go. These days, few visitors seek out the mountain manor held by the most preeminent of the Snegovic. Okay. So there's a mountain manor. Manor held by... I'll just go a Snegovic. Or I guess a Fae. Though it is said that in ages past, many a noble lord would arrive bearing gold-etched invitations to feast within its walls. The silver-haired maiden was once among them, though in those days she had yet to become a... though in those days she had yet to become a mage in the shadows. Okay, wait. Is the Silverhead Maiden one of the noble lords, or one of the one of the Fae, I guess, that held the mountain manor? No, I think it's the noble lord. Okay, so the silver, I think. Silverhead Maiden. Noble lord question mark. Though in those days she had yet to become a mage in the shadows. Yet to become a mage in the shadows. This set will probably take a fair bit longer, I will say. Because of course it's Snezhnaya set, and honestly, like, as much as I love the Celestial Gift and, you know, Aubade and a day of carving whatever fine winds, or a day carved from the rising winds, the sets we get about the upcoming region are always the most exciting ones. One of the noble lords is probably Flynn's. The witch could be when it said mage, I'm in the shadows. The first thing I definitely thought of was Ivanovna. But, like, I just don't think they would go straight into Ivanovna as one of the first things we find out about Snezhnaya. I won't complain. But I just don't know. It's also a mage, not a witch. I know tomato, but, like, you know. Yeah, it's hard to know. Nor had she knocked upon any gates concealing secrets. The gates of Pajola? I don't know why I thought of that. She was merely a court attendant following the Emperor of the North. Is it safe to assume the Emperor of the North here is the Bel-Yisar? Is that a title for the... You know, if it is the Bel-Yisar, it could be Ivanovna. She was a court attendant of Emperor of the North. I feel the only character which fits that description would be the Bel-Yisar. Yes, okay, yeah. Bel-Yisar. The idle talk of the Fae was always oh so stale and wearying. Moreover, being do we know? Ivanovna was human, right? That's why she's dead. That's why she's dead, right? Because she was human, I think? So it could be. I mean, like, I remember thinking, like, I was just thinking in Snezhnaya, I hope we get Ivanovna stuff. And there's a genuine chance here that the first thing for Snezhnaya we get proper, it might actually be already. There's still more to read, but it feels potential. The maiden drew too many gazes from those who were not of her kind, and so she quietly slipped away from the banquet hall. If this goes on to later say she became like a male, then it definitely is. Unfortunately, geez, this is a thick paragraph, damn. Unfortunately, the interior of this 1,000-year-old structure was a veritable maze, and by the time the girl, intent only on going upward, realized her mistake, the way back was lost. To return, she would have to navigate a tangle of winding halls and endless stairs. As the moonlight played one trick after another through the windows. But within this uninhabited silence, the maiden finally found a peace that had long eluded her. Hold on, let me just... Mountain Manor, 1,000-year-old, we'll just say. Okay. It was not until the master of the banquet, the princess of the Snegorochka, appeared behind her. So, I guess the one that held by the Snegor... Okay. Master of the banquet... Princess of the Snegorochka... Wait, I can't write. There we go. Probably, but it's hard to say since the only thing we know was that she left the Hexenberg when she got married, but since Scarlet is here, she's probably dead. Well, I'm pretty sure we know she's dead. I feel like 3.5 said she was dead. Right? Maybe I need to revisit 3.5 Windbloom. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe she wasn't actually implied to be dead. But I feel like when you're talking about successes, I feel like it's gotta be, because I feel like she was going to be. I feel like I remember like one of the letter to Alice being like she was gonna like. Actually, no. How did it go? Actually, and I feel like she was going to like live out her days alongside her beloved, which she eventually ends up killing him to essentially ease his suffering, I'm pretty sure. Or to end his suffering. I feel like that's what the vibe I got from that quest. But it's a long... 3.5 Windbloom, while I have gone back to it a few times, because it's a really good quest, it was over 3 years ago. Ivanovna being besties with the Tsaritsa. I mean, hey, she was the mayor, so I mean, there's every chance. I mean, I guess going by this, actually, it was a flower made of silk, gifted to her by a friend whose answer was called... Yeah. I mean, I did assume the princess of the Snegorochka would probably be the Tsaritsa. I guess I could write that in brackets. Probably... Well, Tsaritsa question mark, because... I mean, I feel like it's the likely answer, but it wouldn't be the first time Genshin would try and deceive us. That she realized the mistress of all frost and ice had also long since grown tired of her guests' cliches and banalities. I've never heard that word in my life. I mean, I think I roughly get the reason, the meaning, but try obvious. Oh yeah. Thus, the two had already turned their backs on the banquet, and so the mistress showed the maiden the paintings, sculptures, and puzzles hidden away in the manor. And the silver-haired maiden met them with a wit and acuity that had already set her apart. Finally, as their talk drew to a close, the princess of the Snegorochka revealed the deft craft of the Fae, an entire courtyard shaped from ice that never melts. with towers rising like pillars of salt and trees that swayed without a palpable breeze, along with pale grass, frost flowers, rabbits, and even an imposing moose. Everything unfolded at their feet like a dream suddenly spilling from beside a sleeper's pillow. Ice that never melts, huh? Kind of reminds me of Dragonspine. And also, it goes back to what Columbina was saying about the Tsaritsa. I can't remember exactly what the wording was, but it was something like the Tsaritsa herself does not even understand her own power or something like that. Whatever it was, she said something really suspicious like that. She's probably that one friend that your parents don't approve of because, as far as I know, Ivanova was a menace that could only be stopped with a cryomarker. I mean, yeah, Ivanova did give menace vibes from the little we know of her. I wish I could go back to what Columbina said at the end of the Archon quest. Because she said something along the lines of, yeah, like, the Tsaritsa herself doesn't quite understand her power. Something along those lines. As though she caught the longing in the maiden's eyes, the princess of the Snegorochka offered up a cautionary word. Even the ice that never melts is but a creation of magic, and thus it cannot truly endure. What you see is but fleeting light and shadow, engraved in the blood of those who were once enslaved. Huh? Wait, what you see is but fleeting light and shadow, engraved in the blood of those who were once enslaved. How the hell did you get to that? Yet the servants of yore may still perform such wondrous tricks, while the humans who were once their masters can no longer reclaim their former glory. I'm just... I feel that's gonna be important. Can no longer... former... glory. Because, like... it feels like it's say like... Because it feels like it's... because this is like Bel Yasar time, so everything is the Fae. The Fae would be, I guess, the predominant race. But then obviously, after the Bel Yasar died, we know that the Fae kind of... I don't know how to word it, but they didn't fall into obscurity, but like... humans kind of rose up again, I guess. I don't know how that... because like the information we got from the Nod-Krai movie was so long ago. But they're not the predominant race anymore, it seems like, of Snezhnaya. Or at least they're not, like, as openly prevalent. Probably referred to how the Fae were created by Hyperboreans for their war allies of those people. I see what you mean. Okay, yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Okay. There's so much to write down, man. At their parting, the Snegorochka princess fashioned for her a flower from silk, unlike the unmelted ice. While the vibrant... actually... does this mean the Tsaritsa's going to have this color scheme? The Fae still hold hierarchy positions, but aren't predominant as the ruling class of hierarchical. Yeah, it's like... I wasn't sure how to word it. Like, they're not like the... they're not like the top dog, I guess, anymore. Well, I guess that the top dog herself is, but unlike the unmelted ice, while the vibrant hues of silk might fade, its substance would endure much longer. As she watched the Snegorochka pin the silken gift to her chest. Oh, right, okay, yeah. As she watched the Snegorochka pin the silken gift to her chest with her long, slender fingers, the maiden said with a smile, "I thought you were only artful in how you willed power to shape all things from ice and snow." Aksinya? Aksinya, the princess of the Snegorochka, replied, "It is never the craft that is artful, but the heart." God, how you seem to have changed. This is proof of our friendship. From now on, no matter when, I shall be delighted to receive you here. Aksinya. Is that the maiden's name then? Silverhaired maiden. Silverhaired maiden, I assume. Unless it's just like some kind of like Snezhnayan term that she said, but I assume it's the name. Cause that was One Piece. The One Piece. I mean, if this is from the Tsaritsa. I mean, I don't think she's gonna use this set because let's be real, I don't. And granted that it will change this artifact, but I don't think the Tsaritsa is going to be specifically a superconduct character. Just a guess. I think it's a safe guess. She's going to be very universal, obviously, but like, I mean, it feels like if this is the silk, like, is this the color scheme that the Tsaritsa is going to have? I could imagine it, blues and whites and a bit of gold. I could see it. It's what I would have imagined. Sharpness that ceased upon wondrous creation. It was a feathered quill given to her followers, once used to pen the most absurd of dreams. It was here that the young apprentice followed the silver-haired researcher into the shadows of the world. Imagine this Tsaritsa's a half Fae, and that's why the Fae aren't very predominant because they don't like her or something. Well, I mean, I feel like that's the vibe we kind of have, don't we? I mean, not in terms of race, like, they don't like her. I feel like that's the vibe we get, isn't it? I don't know if that's ever been explicitly stated. Has it? Oh god, I can't remember. I wish I could go back to the Nod-Krai web event and see what it said about this, about the Snowland Fae then. So much, man. Okay, so we have a silver. How many characters have silver hair? We have the silver-haired maiden. Now we've got a silver-haired researcher. Silver-haired researcher. Into the shadows of the world. Beheld the ruins of a once... Okay. So the young apprentice followed the silver-haired researcher into the ruins of Hyperborea. Shadows of the world. Ruins of Hyperborea. Beheld the ruins of a once resplendent golden civilization laid waste by devastation. The towers... frozen in time and space. Excuse me? Hyperborean. I mean, we have heard a lot about these towers in Hyperborea. They seem like the predominant thing. Frozen in time and space. After being nailed? Huh. This makes me think I have no even more because Hexenzirkel, in a sense, researches Irminsul and parts of the world. Yeah, definitely, they were very heavily Irminsul, yeah. Which is why I don't know if I said it during the quest, but which is why I was so surprised only Nicole kind of played a part in Act 9 and 10, because, like, the Hexenzirkel, like, one of their main things is Irminsul, and that they just didn't seem to give a shit. I was surprised. Probably like Anchor. Well, yeah, I'm pretty like the towers. And we've heard it. I'm pretty sure we know the towers. It is like the things that look like Anchor. It's just frozen in time and space feels weird, but I guess. And maybe it's just because we hear so much about time and space recently that's kind of just alarm bells are going off. The towers, frozen in time and space, loomed like giants with shattered bodies, while the earth lay open as a weeping gash. It was a blow that the master of the heavens had struck, a wound congealed upon the world since days long past. All dreams of freedom had been annihilated, extinguished as fast as snow beneath a scorching sun. A cruel reaping met every seed of rebellion before it could even sprout. Even so, the researcher who had witnessed it all pressed on through the ruins, seemingly oblivious to the danger, moving deftly as if dancing across a tightrope on blades of ice. What danger? Just because it's in ruins or something else? I think Nicole did mention that others were busy while she was doing one free, probably kept in reserve in case something happened in the firmament. Was that mentioned? I know that was mentioned at the end of Act 8. Was that mentioned in Act 9 and 10? I think I think it was something like that, but I still feel like still kind of weird, man. I mean, I guess Alice, sure, she's like you could do Barbie as well. I don't know. It still felt kind of weird, but I guess maybe they may have said something like that. Can't quite remember. Which is weird, because I've watched, like, 6 different playthroughs of the quest, and I still can't remember details of it, which is crazy. Because I love those damn quests. Are you not afraid? The path you walk, the path once trod upon by those before you, ended in nothing but destruction. Well, I mean, as far as we know, it's not part. The gods can't see it anymore, so. Are you not afraid? The threshold you seek to cross is long shattered, and the stairs severed by the high heavens. Stairs again. How many times? The silver-haired researcher listened quietly to the young apprentice's pleas for caution. Even as she continued to sketch that as wait, is it the same person then? If it's a she, silver-haired, is it the same? Where was I? The silver-haired researcher listened quietly to the young apprentice's pleas for caution, even as she continued to sketch the design of a grand undertaking never meant to be. As they spoke, the researcher recalled that the domovoi before her was actually slightly older than herself. Oh, okay. Everyone know what the mages are fighting against at the border? Abyss, I'd assume. Domovoi. It rings a bell. Domovoi. Oh, it rings such a bell. I don't know what from, though. I don't know how I'm going to go through. It's a Fey type, that's why. As they spoke, the researcher recalled that the domovoi before her was actually slightly... Oh. Wait, so the young apprentice was actually older than her. One of the common Fey races? Yeah. Okay. So, hold on. Young apprentice is a domovoi. We don't actually know what a domovoi is yet, though, do we? We just know it's a Fey. Like, we don't know what it looks like or anything. I wonder if that's gonna be like one of the end. Like, I want to know more about the Fey, man. I want to know all the different types and the unique ones and what they look like. I think that's the number one thing I'm looking forward to.
and Snezhnaya. Like, the Saritsa's plans, the Fatui, all that, that's cool and all. I want to know more about the Fae, man. Like, as soon as I saw the Fae in the Nod-Krai teaser, I knew they were the one I wanted the most. Flynn's is cool as hell. Linnea's cool as hell. Selena's cool as hell. Lumi's cool as hell. Vodyanit's whatever the hell her name is. She gives me good vibes, even though it's literally just one voice line about her. I want to know more about this damn Fae, man. So much more. I wouldn't be surprised if Alice would grab everyone available just because her hubby is stuck at the border, unable to get in. That is something Alice would do. What did they say during that event? Like, he had to jump. He had to like jump through rings just to get back or something like that. What was it? What was his? And also, what was his name? Oh, Kleiner. That's what it was. It was Kleiner, right? I think. Is a Domovoy Fae race is older than her. Okay. But she did not sneer at the fear born of witnessing the collapse of a grand civilization. On the contrary, she looked straight into those trembling eyes and into the doubt at the very core of the other's being. That's what I'm saving for Vodyanitsa, because I want to catch them all. Yeah, I mean, God, like, we have a track record. So far, I love all 4 Fae we've met. Well, I guess there's also the one from Linnea's Storyquest as well, the Snegovich. And she's cool as hell as well. I mean, she has an NPC model, but she gave us cool ass lore, so... But, like, all the relevant Fae we've met so far, peak. And, like, it's gonna think I'm probably gonna want the Sarisa as well, because she seemed like she had, I think, elf ears from the statue, so it means that that's pretty much an instant pull for me. And then Vodyanitsa, however it's pronounced. I'm gonna suck at pronouncing these names, man. I sucked when it came to Sumeru. I sucked when it came to Natlan. And I sucked. I'm bad at all of them, but Snezhnaya is gonna be a different beast, man. But I definitely want her. Yeah, Kleiner, Kaslana. I am not doubting you for a second. There's a reason the Traveler's Drip Marketing had KK. There is a reason. I don't know if it necessarily will be Kleiner or not, but I mean, hey, it's plausible. Where was I? The fire may have been lit, but what remains today is but its long-cooled grave. We do this not to take on another's legacy, but to see clearly by the fire's light. So fear not, for even if we are unable to step into the new world, there will be others after us who can go one step further. And fear not, for even if we cannot cross the new threshold, our bones shall serve as the next step for us to climb. Okay, that is rather morbid. I must say. That is rather morbid. The silver-haired researcher, a girl no longer, placed her pen in her apprentice's hand. The young Domovoy's hand grew heavy, not from the feather, but the sheer weight of the researcher's conviction. I want to know more of this Fae. I know so much more. God, I'm so excited for Snezhnaya, man. And there's only 2 pieces in. Hyperborea, Saritsa, the Fae, Fatui. There's so much to look forward to. Moment that ceased upon waking from grand dreams. It was a fleeting moment she gave a certain silent alchemist to remind him of every item on his schedule. I don't know why, but even I call him Kleiner Kaslana, I still imagine him as a Welt type character. What do I imagine Kleiner as? I don't really know. I've never really thought about it, to be honest. I've never really thought about what kind of character I'd expect. Or if it'd be an XP or if it'd be original, I don't know. I never really thought about it. Oh, Tsaritsa mentioned straight away. It was a time before the Tsaritsa, who now rule Snezhnaya, had ascended the throne in Zapoliani Palace. A time when the land of ice and snow had not yet, due to the harbingers, forbidden all practice of the art of alchemy. Okay, I don't think we knew this. Don't worry, we'll be joining Snezhnaya teasers the live stream maybe next week. Oh my god. I mean, yeah, we'll probably get at least one character properly shown. Because, like, the Natlan one gave us 3 characters, the 6.0 characters. The Nod-Krai one gave us just Lama, because she was the first half. We'll probably get at least one character. It may just be a proper look at the character we saw. It may be someone else. It could be a Vodyanitsa. Wasn't there another V in that now? I don't know. I feel like there would be at least one character shown. But I feel like the thing... It probably will also show some of the area as well. But I feel like the main thing is actually the week after the program. Because that's when the main character teaser should come out. That's what I'm really looking forward to. For all the characters, I'm probably going to want like 99% of those characters. I'm going to lose my mind because I have 14,000 primos on the alt. And I have 60,000 primos in this account, pulling Snezhnaya. Next patch, so like, I'm kind of screwed. I'm really hoping, like, just thinking of the Snezhnaya teaser. How many characters they normally show? We'll just say around 10 characters. Yes, I can't wait. Yeah, neither. But I feel like, yeah, about 10 characters, right? Roughly, give or take. The Tsaritsa will be one I want to pull. Vodyanitsa is going to be one I'm going to want to pull. Out of the remaining 8 or so characters, if I can only want, like, really want 3 of them, I'll be happy. Like, that's 5 out of the 10. If I can keep it to around 50% of the characters I really want, I'll be happy. Because, like, when it came to Nod-Krai, I wanted all but 1. In the end, I pulled all but 2. So, like, the only one I wanted and didn't get was Lamo. So I'm just hoping it's not that case. If it is, I'm so screwed. Oh yeah, I gotta write this down. So Tsaritsa. Hold on, I'll do this alone. Tsaritsa, due to the existence of the harbingers, probably. Of the harbingers. Forbid all practice of alchemy. Which is, I feel like that's entirely new information we've never heard before. I'll probably skip the dogbo from the teaser. I don't know. I think it depends. I think it's a cool enough design that I kind of want to pull it. But I mean, like, here's like if there's only 2 characters I want, like the Tsaritsa and Vodyanitsa, I think I'd pull them. But if there was like every character I'd want, I would skip. Like, it depends on how many other characters I want. Somewhere beneath the long shadow of the Snow King. Oh, wait, this is before the Tsaritsa. Right, you're right. Somewhere beneath this long shadow of the Snow King, a young alchemist with long black hair was finally being unshackled, so he could conduct research that would defy every single taboo in existence. Instead of Harbinger's Pro, because Rindal, I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense. It definitely would have some unfavorable experiences. So, Rhine, potentially. Beneath the long shadow of the Snow King. Shadow of... Okay, spell you saw. Alchemist with long black hair. I've already, like, I'm halfway through and I've already written more notes on this set than any of the others. Do we... Oh, what is Rotwang's story again? And do we know what Rotwang looks like? I don't know if I'd even consider him an alchemist anyway, but I'm just trying to think if it could be him. I don't know, I can't remember how Rotwang's story goes. Was unshackled. Research to defy every single taboo. Every taboo. Okay. Imagine next New Year the Sarisa on the battle and said, "Man, bro, don't give me hope." Like, apart from, like, if we're talking, like, characters, like, outside of Snezhnaya characters, I mean, I guess there's also the, you know, honestly, even with the Shades, like, if you were to say, like, Shades playable characters, the number one character I think I want is Madaping. I don't think Rotwang was ever in prison. Yeah, I can't remember, or if he was or not. Also, just anything else. But, yeah, I don't know. So this could be just someone completely new. But, to be fair, there's not many other characters that could be, like, Madam Ping is kind of like the only one. I guess I'll say this now. Like, there's not many characters that we kind of know that could become playable in any sense. Like, I guess yeah, there's the Shades, there's Alice, and there's Madam Ping. I want Madam Ping more than Alice and anything else. Like, I'm being completely serious. I want Madam Ping. I don't know if I'll be able to see 6. Because I think I'd pulling on the main. I think if I was gonna pull, because I have enough Hydra characters on the alt, and I feel like if she's gonna be playable, she'd be Hydra. So I don't know if I'd be able to see 6, but I definitely would want to. Bro, Manaping's awesome. To the young man, the world was but an assemblage of elements, and meaning was something that could only be found on the material plane. To him, life was but an accidental puzzle assembled by nature over millennia, a mosaic that human intellect, reigning sovereign over all, could freely cut and paste it. Well, this guy is unhinged. Put simply. I know it's kind of a low-hanging fruit, but this guy's kind of crazy. And thus he grew wings on four-legged beasts, and insect wings and casks on tigers and what is it? Casks? Helmet or headphone? Oh, what the fuck? On tigers? Okay. Interesting. Though his reshaping of life impressed many of his peers, he remained unsatisfied. What the hell? This guy, yeah, maybe it's because of this guy. Like, that's probably why they're talking about it, actually. They're saying it was banned, alchemy was banned. This is before alchemy was banned. Yes, it's probably because of this guy was completely unhinged. That's why the Sarita banned alchemy, or the Harvard banned alchemy. After all, beasts were but lives governed by witless souls, whereas the vessels of those possessing intellect should be far more complex and fascinating. Ancient doctors, yeah, pretty much. Not even that ancient. We don't even know, like, I guess it could be anywhere, like, beyond 500 years ago, couldn't it? We don't actually know when, how much before. So it could be a long time, actually, yeah. Where was I? Here. Whereas the vessels of those possessing intellect should be far more complex and fascinating. Finally, in a move that was all but suicide, he turned his hands towards the Fae, who still held power that... Oh, maybe that's why they got banned, because he tried to experiment on the Fae, and, well, people don't like that. This should have been the end of the young man's life. Instead, his crimes drew the attention of the Snow King. Actually, hold on, let's write this down. Tried to experiment on Faye. Who sent him to labor at the institute where all taboos are touched, and where lines were mere suggestions and the basis for further experiment. What the fuck? It was on that very afternoon that the gloomy alchemist first met the... Who is this silver-haired maiden, man? She has met absolutely everyone. The Tsaritsa, this unhinged alchemist, a fae in Hyperborea. Like, what the hell? Alchemist met maiden. And it was on that very afternoon that the gloomy alchemist first met the silver-haired maiden. However, her gentle words and tenderness only wounded his pride. Who gives a shit? Driven by spite, or perhaps by a desire to provoke her into fear and drive her away, the alchemist used a brief moment of their handshake to work a secret art, causing an ear to grow within her. What the f... What? Okay, sure. Okay then. Ah, I see now. So this is the art you have mastered. This will be of great use to our endeavour indeed. The maiden covered her mouth with the hand that bore the ear and whispered to it. What the... Okay. It was only when she saw the confusion on the alchemist's face that she realized he could not hear through the ear in her palm. I would hope not. That'd be even weirder. It was, after all, meant to be just a temporary modification of the flesh using secret arts, nothing more than a loathsome prank. The extra organ soon fell away like a scab, dissolving into a puddle of mud. The maiden, however, felt a trace of regret. What? Okay. Sure. Huh. But imagine the maiden is Ivanova and the alchemist is her husband. Imagine. That'd be fucking insane. Because, like, what is this? What are these reactions? This is not the reaction you should be having to whatever the hell this guy's doing. What the fuck am I listening to? That's what I'm saying! What am I reading? What am I reading? It's so bizarre. That was quite fascinating. However, you should understand that there are strict rules and procedures in this place. The next time you intend to attempt such a thing, remember to submit a request to me beforehand. Also, time is short and your schedule's written here. I have an offer and a hub. Exactly. The encounter left the dark-haired young man in a trance-like state for the rest of the afternoon. Yeah, valid, I guess. In this daze, he perceived something invisible, something intangible that rose above material life. And the world was no longer a mere puzzle of countless accidents, haphazardly pieced together. Within it, he found something that stung, yet also stirred yearning within. Bro, he's like, this might actually genuinely be Ivanovna and her husband. Like, genuinely. Hold on. I know this is irrelevant. Oh, this is going to take a while to find, actually. Can I grab our popular? Will that actually help me find it? It might. I don't know how popular it is, the video. I don't know how many views it has. I don't think it has this many. It might be easier to go by... Okay, it might be easier to go by just regular. He fell for it? Yeah. Uh-huh. A match made in heaven, I guess. They're both weird. This might take a little bit. I can't remember the name of the cutscene, so... So I'm trying to... Because I know it's years on, so details can change. But I'm just thinking, like... I'm pretty sure we actually do kind of get a shot of the two of them in a cutscene form in the The Wimbledon cutscene. They may just T-Bot, that's what it is.
Ever heard of the Hexenzirkel?
Life of my beloved.
He doesn't have black hair. Theory's dead. Doesn't have black hair, it's dead. It doesn't actually mean anything, because this is 3 years ago. But, still. Things can change, but it might be less likely now. Yeah, that was a weird piece. And I kind of like... I'm loving how like they're all so different. Because like they're all connected to the Silverhead Maiden, which may or may not be Ivanovna. But they're just giving so much different like views on things. Like it's a way of tying them all together, but also giving us as much information as possible. I love it. Okay. Ovations that ceased upon festivity. It was a goblet of wine she had accepted in celebration from the hands of a colleague. There was a time when primordial venom and primordial light clashed in a corner unseen by the heaven's gaze? He doesn't have black hair. Dave was old by the time she killed him, which is why she killed... Well... Yeah, but like... Going by that, you'd think it would be white hair. So... or grey hair. I don't know. Primordial venom and primal light clash in a corner unseen by the heaven's gaze. I was gonna say like just like abyss and like celestial stuff, but if it's in a corner unseen by the heaven's gaze, I don't know then. Primordial venom could still be just like a sub in for the abyss, but then primal light. I mean, if this is a corner unseen by the heaven's gaze, I guess it could be Hyperboreus, like Koita maybe. Or is it something else? Primordial venom equals abyss question mark. Primal light Koita question mark. We don't know how long ago. There was a time. This says there was a time. If a love, a fervor, and an ambition just greater than the world itself were to take shape, they had to be born and kindled. Okay, so it might act clashed. I mean, it just feels like it's talking about Koita. If a love, a fervor, and an ambition just greater than the world itself were to take shape, they had to be born and kindled in a place unseen by any eye. It could be or could not be, I don't know. It was a design that could not endure the slightest deviation in its course, and an experiment that stood but a hair's breadth from world-spanning madness. It was almost as if someone had stayed the hand of fate itself, forcing coin toss after coin toss until the desired outcome was reached. Or perhaps only through upheaval at their periphery can certain possibilities pass through layer upon layer of constraint, and be captured and brought into being by a plan most absurd. I can't tell if it is meant to be talking about Koita or not. Like, I feel like it could be, but at the same time it also kind of feels not. It just feels a bit strange about it. Probably. I feel like... For the only thing we know it could... Unless there's something else we don't know entirely, if it could have to be. Once upon a time... But this isn't hyper... I mean, this is more like Snezhnaya stuff, not Hyperborea as much, so I don't know. Once upon a time, at the behest of a Snow King, burdened by sin and remorse... Sin and remorse? A group of people was assembled and tasked with a single purpose. So there was a time when Belyi saw, burdened by sin and remorse. Why? A group of people was assembled. Is this like the Bellier Stars expedition, maybe? A group of people was assembled and tasked with a single purpose. To seek the stayway? What the hell am I saying? To seek the stairway leading to the vacant seat in the court of the star... What the hell? Seek... Stairway... Vacant... Seat... Court of Stars. What the... Court of Stars? Huh? Hold on. A passage to a place where worry and sorrow would no longer trouble them ever again. Court of Stars, it makes me want to think, like, moons. But the vacancy, I mean, I guess the Frost Moon was whole, but it didn't have a goddess at the time, potentially at the time. Maybe? That's the only thing I can think of. A passage to a place where worry and sorrow would no longer trouble them ever again. Countless days and nights of toil passed as the Snow King's company was driven through an unending succession of forbidden acts and descents into the ruins of ancient civilizations, plural. All to face the outline of a dream once shaped by a primordial golden realm, and bring forth a vast embryo long hidden in shadow. All to trace the faint outline of a dream once shaped by a primordial golden realm, and bring forth a vast embryo. The word choice. I forgot the name of the thing again. What was it? How do I keep forgetting it? This is embarrassing. This is the third time I've forgotten it. Where was it? Seed of Life project. I'm writing on this page, so I don't damn forget it again. Seed of Life. Is it to do with that? I mean, if we're considering what the Seed of Life project was, an embryo would be a very fitting word for it. The ancient Domovoy Elvis. Domovoy Elvis cast his gaze past the princess of the Snegorochka and the brooding long-haired alchemist as he rose from his stool. From his high stool. Okay. So I get the Tsaritsa and the alchemist, presumably Ivanovna's husband, were a part of the group of people. As amiable yet unloving old man, the great lord of Kitezgrad, who had monopolized the city's mining industry since its founding, raised his wine cup toward her and said, "It is hard to imagine such a grand undertaking ultimately being led and completed by humans. But we are all aware of what you have given, such that you could reach and even surpass everything left by those who came before in the blink of a single lifetime, Aksinya. And you have every right to take pride in this achievement." Okay, so Elvis looked past the Tsaritsa and the alchemist to look upon presumably Ivanovna, but Aksinya if it's not Ivanovna. Okay. Elvis doesn't give a shit about the Tsaritsa. About Tsaritsa or alchemist. Praises Aksinya instead. Because she's human. Wait a minute. I guess I never said the alchemist is human. But surely, right? I mean, if it is meant to be Ivanovna, then it should be. Did they ever say? They just said the young man. An amiable yet unloving old man, the great lord of Kitezgrad. Is Kitezgrad a new term? Because there's Nova Kitezgrad, there's Snezhnaya. Is Kitezgrad a new one? I don't know. There's too many. There's too many, and they all sound the same. Kitezgrad. It is hard to imagine such a great undertaking ultimately being led by and completed by humans, but we are all aware of what you have given, such that you could reach and even surpass everything left by those who came before in the blink of a single lifetime, Aksinya. And you have every right to take pride in this achievement. It could not have been easy for the Domovoy Lord, who had always held humanity in little regard, to make such a pronouncement. Well, that makes it even more impressive. Even though he doesn't like humans. The girl recalled their very first encounter, the deep disgust and fear of humankind barely concealed in his eyes. So is this meant to be the Domovoy from the second time? I don't think so, because the young apprentice was... It didn't seem like it was disgust. So it's a pretty different one. Because Domovoy lore is different. So it's a different Domovoy. Not that we know what a Domovoy is. But none of that mattered any longer, for the Fae's hopes and resentments were of no consequence next to the Snow King's grand dream. Besides, this Domovoy, who had appeared time and again throughout the history of the Snowman Kingdom, had all along freely imparted all he knew to her. Okay, so like Elvis is like super important. Super important. Appears throughout history. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, who had appeared time and again throughout the history of the Snowman Kingdom, had all along freely imparted all he knew to her, and he had also provided counsel on many a matter. In some sense, he had already become both mentor and friend to the silver-haired girl, and so she too raised her goblet, spilling a little of the bitterness that had been poured into it along the way. In the Domovoy's eyes, Aksinya saw a warm, earnest affection, one an elder might feel toward a younger. I really want to know if Aksinya is Ivanovna or not. I can't imagine it is, though. I don't think it can be. Like, I feel as long as part of it, some of it does make sense, and it makes me want to hope that it is. But like, Ivanovna is Ivanovna N. There's no room for a name starting with A. So I can't imagine it is. But I still want to hold on to hope the fact that it could be. Pendulum that ceased amidst a great fall. Last piece. This artifact set has taken over an hour. This is what I was kind of expecting for all of them, but I guess it was just the Snezhnaya one because it's so much more important. Well, maybe not more important, but like more relevant, I guess, and it's more new. It was a delicate trinket awarded to her in praise by the hand of her only master. It was a gift from the towering man upon the throne, given in celebration of her birth. To the Lord of Ice and Frost, whose years span the long ages, the blossoming of a human life passes in a mere blink of an eye. He still remembered wandering in that world of shadows. There, he recalled, lay that shattered golden homeland, the mother he had never met. It was there that he discovered the secrets of the Hyperboreans that had been buried in the deepest reaches. Hold on, I kind of know this, but I'll bring it down anyway. Hyperborea. Okay. It was there that he discovered the secrets of the Hyperboreans that had been buried in the deepest reaches, finding the answers about himself that he had pursued for thousands of years. But nothing he learned was enough to free him from the endless pain and doubt. For more often than not, wisdom is but a curse in disguise. So this goes back to, what was it before? Sin and regret, or sin and remorse. So it's because of he knew too much, I guess? Wisdom is but a curse, or is that something else? Countless times thereafter, he walked the ruins in the shadows, pondering whether he should shoulder such a burden. For in this day and age, none remained who would demand the responsibilities and burdens he had been made to bear. That is, until one day, he passed by a broken structure filled with life-sustaining devices from ages past. Huh, bro, I think Dottore would want to find that. Like, what? I need to write that down. Where was I? There you go. Broken structure. And I feel like my voice is breaking as well. Speaking too much. Filled with life-sustaining devices. Whatever that specifically means, I don't know. Would it be like a cryopod type thing? It's the land of cryo, or was it more like a thing that the Torah would like a potion, elixir of immortality kind of thing? I guess it's a device, so it's probably more like a cryopod type thing. I'm assuming at least something along those lines. Those must have been the efforts of the ancients to endure into the future, he thought, as the blade of the heavens hung ever lower over them. Though he had seen such devices in the distant past, the ones he encountered then were either broken or had otherwise failed. This time was different. Among the darkened devices, one suddenly flickered to life, as if he had sensed something. Okay, so one wasn't broken. Well, not fully broken. One wasn't fully destroyed, I guess. It was like a random number appearing in a cold calculation. A small, otherwise insignificant blip, suddenly magnified beyond all proportion. He opened the fragile hatch as if opening a treasure chest, and inside he found, unconscious yet still alive, a silver-haired infant. What the So is Axinia then a Hyperborean that, or a young Hyperborean that was sustained in that? Was it something else? Thank you for the gift, said the young lady as she sat upright and touched the fresh piercing in her ear. Her earlobes were still burning a little. The King of the North returned to the present moment. The young lady, who was all grown up, spoke her thanks with a hint of probing intent. What can I give you in return? She asked. It was a question to which no answer was really needed, but all of a sudden, a long lingering sadness settled over his thoughts like frost. And in the end, he relented and told the young maiden of the visions he had once held, or perhaps had held for far too long. Because just it feels, yeah, so Axinia, okay. Axinia, I guess, was a preserved Hyperborean? I guess is a way of putting it? That feels like what it's saying. Wow. What an artifact set. I mean, it always is this way when we get a set for a new nation, but I mean, the other three sets combined, I took a page of notes. I took almost a page of notes just for this set alone. Oh, okay. That last one kind of caught me off guard. Okay. Jesus. That's really weird when you go back to this piece as well. Because, like, obviously, she's, like, I guess, like, yeah, preserved. Like, so, like, technically she's not aging, but, like, you look at it in this respect, like, was it this one? Yeah, the Domovoy before her was actually slightly older than herself. But, considering then that she's a Hyperborean, like, she kind of is older, but also not older in the same way. Depends on how you want to look at it. Oh, that one's weird. I like it, though. But then, who truly is she, then? I mean, I feel like the idea of her being a Ivanovna, I mean, it just doesn't make sense considering Ivanovna's name is Ivanovna N. And then her letter's J. There's no A anywhere there. But, I mean, maybe... I feel like how often do the artifact sets lead into actual world quests? I feel like Axinia definitely should hope... I mean, I don't know. She's human, though. Even though she was preserved, she was human. So maybe she wouldn't be a world quest. I don't know. I feel like at the very least there should be... I feel like there definitely should totally be a world quest to do with this. Maybe it'll be to do with the actual Hyperborea world quest itself, assuming we get to explore there at some point. But holy... What a set! Oh my god. So much lore. Oh my. Bro, yeah, this paragraph just changed everything about this set. It's a weird thing to look at now, then. It doesn't change too much, but it also kind of changes the whole thing at the same time. I don't know how to think about it. Wow, okay, yeah. I like this set. Needless to say, I really like this set. There's a lot to look at. And there's a lot that I'm going to need to go back through. Because as I said before, like, I feel like one thing I should do more often is reread. And, like, take a bit of time, then reread it. And actually try and think about it a bit more. Think more things might line up or add up. But I think I'm good for today. I was thinking maybe of reading some books or the Dottore stuff, but that was a lot. I mean, it was only like 4 hours, not even 4 hours, but like it was almost 4 hours of just straight up talking and reading. I feel like if I do too much, not much of it's gonna settle in my brain. I feel like even as it is, this stuff might not settle in my brain because it's 4 artifact sets at once. Some of it might merge together. Especially the Aubade of Morningstar and the Celestial Gift one. Because those two, somewhat, not similar, but they have more overarching things. And yeah, I mean, I have them all on different accounts, but I don't quite have all the Dottore things yet, so... Where are they? Here. I have 1 and 3, so I'll wait till I get 2. And then I don't know when I'll do another stream. I don't know. Actually, no, you know, I know when. Special program. It depends on when I get this. If I get number 2. But I'll probably stream a bit earlier for the special program again. And I might read some more lore. Potentially these Dottore things. Maybe some books as well. Maybe even Nicole's lore, because I haven't done that yet either. But I think overall, that will be good enough for now. Because that was, yeah, a lot. And that was a hell of a lot of fun. And again, like I said before, thank God I had people to correct me. Because especially in the first half, I think it was mainly with the Celestial Gift and the Aubade set, I was making so many mistakes and mental errors. So having people here to help correct me was very useful. But that was a really fun stream. I really liked that. I had a lot of fun for that. But yeah, I think we'll do a bit more before the special program, presumably on Friday. You know, sometimes they love to switch it up out of nowhere and have it on a Saturday, but that's very rare,
Would
so
you like to go moon gazing?
can't live in it all the time. But yeah, probably do some more lore on Friday. Maybe about 2 hours, I think, before the program. Might give me enough time. I'll think about it, but around that, we'll have a bunch of talked about. We've also got the Snezhnaya short coming out in a couple of days. There's a lot to look forward to the next couple of weeks. Special program, Snezhnaya short. Snezhnaya teaser as well, bro. Like it has been for the past year, Genshin is just hitting right now, man. There's so much. There's so much good stuff going on. But that will be enough for this stream. Because yeah, again, that was a lot. But that was very fun. I think that shall be it, though. Pretty much, yeah. Goodbye. Horrible ending. I'm kind of